And yeah, that it did get a little real at one point. But I just, I can't be as cool as Jodie Foster, or Ellen Page, or any of these people. They're just cool lesbians. And I can't be a cool lesbian ever. Ever. I can't. Sucks.
Welcome to the Pick and Response podcast.
All right, welcome to the Pixel Response, episode 141. It's late November
25th.
Yeah, we've already commemorated the passing of John F. Kennedy. That was last week.
Also, Thanksgiving happened.
So I'm sure everybody out there watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, the greatest Thanksgiving film ever made by anyone ever.
Maybe the only one besides Thanksgiving.
Okay, sure. I'm sure there's others that involve Thanksgiving, right? It's a pretty big deal in America, is my understanding.
In America.
To be clear, this is an American Thanksgiving. Also, Consumerism Week or whatever.
Yeah, we had Thanksgiving a month ago. We're ahead of it.
Yeah, we already ate turkey and had a great time, so...
Turkey's okay.
Turkey's pretty good. It can be really dry if you do it wrong, but, hey, the excuse for sauces. That works for me.
I think I have the perfect amount of turkey every year, where there's like one at the beginning of the year around Easter-ish, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's Thanksgiving, and then generally Christmas will
Get
be
another
something.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 a year is probably fine. Any more, and I would be like,
eating
fuck
large
this.
birds. I eat chickens all the
Chicken's
time, though.
fine. Yeah.
But it's like almost the same.
Almost.
It's almost the same. I don't know.
It's not, though. Because turkey is,
it's
right,
bigger.
it's dry.
It can be, if you do it wrong. There's
Yeah.
ways to do it. You cook it in a bag or something, and it keeps all the juice in there. There's tricks out there. But I did watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and had a fantastic time. I love that movie. I watch it all the time.
That's good.
That's just good. It's like especially appropriate because Thanksgiving, but I just think it's just a good road movie or something. Just the two main characters. Also, it's like 90 minutes. There's the perfect movie length. If your movie's longer than that, you've kind of fucked up. It doesn't matter what you're doing, what you're making. Just discredit Roger Ebert's advice about like, a good movie can never be long enough. That's not true. Good movies can be too long. Should be 90 minutes.
What about Planet of the Apes?
Should have been 90 minutes. Would have been better.
Yeah.
Would have been 12 stars that way.
Yeah, okay.
Grand Budapest is close. It's like 100 and something. Like 103.
It's not 90.
It's not 90.
Oh, man. It
So
could have been
tighter, yeah. Could have tightened it up somewhere. I don't know. You know what? That's a bad rule of thumb. I'm not going to stand by what I just said.
Yeah,
I was just lying. It's just for jokes. But okay. I barely had anything to bring up about Planes, Trains, other than John Candy. It was great.
He's dead.
He's dead now. He died 22 years ago.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah, 94. So I think his last movie would have been Canadian Bacon, released in 95. But it was already shot before Wagons East. Anyway.
When was Uncle Buck?
89, I think.
Okay.
So that was after Planes, Trains, before Home Alone, and John Hughes and all that stuff. He's dead too. So sorry, they're kicking things off real happy.
A lot of people have died.
But those are two people I'm thankful for.
Uh-huh.
On Thanksgiving, bringing it back.
Yeah, there you go.
So, man, I don't know what else
I don't know how to dig out this hole.
Thankful for.
I don't know how to
it's
dig
just like,
out of
well,
this.
some of these things were okay. I'm thankful for Japanese animators.
Okay.
I'm glad that they do their work, They just kind of come up with quirky ideas.
Is there a specific one?
Yeah. So we're signed up on Crunchyroll now,
of
which
course.
is a streaming thing. I guess Funimation and them are buddies now.
Yeah.
So they just consolidated their libraries, and there's more anime to be had.
There's a lot of anime on it.
The ones I like are kids shows mostly.
Sure.
That's the stuff I've been, especially when it's like, this is like 3 minutes. It's just something silly that was in between like commercials or I don't know. Like it's like, hey, this show came up short. We need to get to the half-hour mark. Here's a little show for you called Banana. And it's
I love it.
Yeah, have you seen it?
Of
it's
course.
Like cat bananas that are hopping around and just they get into some minor misadventure and then it's over.
They're very short.
It's actually 2 minutes. Like they're 3 minutes, but everything important will happen in 2 minutes, and then they'll be like, here's a little character profile and the credits.
Where, like, the book opens, and it's
the book opens, here's Papa Banana. He
Yeah.
used to be a looker back in the day, anyway, and then that's the end of that. And then it zooms in on his, like, big
Banana
part in his hair.
specifically is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was another cat one where it's, like, these box-headed cats. Nian something.
Okay.
They're aliens, I guess, and they're trying to find pieces of a UFO. I only watched one of those, but it was like 5 minutes. It's sort of live action backgrounds, but then like little CG kind of Minecraft looking characters running around.
Great.
Like cats.
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't capture my heart the way Banana did. So
sure.
For cat related nonsense, I think Banana is a better show.
And they're just adorable.
They're
little cat head.
It's like so insidiously just like designed to be a keychain, and like in a candy crane there's plushies or something. Like I'm sure there's merchandise everywhere.
Totally.
It's in that mold of just like, this is so it's stupid that this is
kind of gross,
adorable, but it works, so good job. But yeah. I guess a longer show that's also on there, I've been watching these like Japanese folk tales where I appreciate them because it's just like, well, these are just fairy tales, but they're from a different book of fairy tales that I've never heard before.
What's it called?
I think it's just called Japanese folk tales, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay. There's some insane number of episodes, actually, like 240 or something at this point.
Okay.
I've only seen 2, but each one's comprised of 3 stories. And it'll just be like little 8-minute kind of like narrated little folk tales about like often an old couple finds some magic thing that gives them a bunch of gold or something, and then some greedy neighbor will be like, how'd you get that? What's going on? Where'd you get that? And then he'll be kind of an ass about it. Like he'll just
greedy neighbors are the worst.
It's like, oh, I found this magical kingdom of the rats, and they were so nice to me, and they gave me this gift at the end of this big celebration, and it was full of gold coins. It's like, oh, okay, well, what did you do to get that? Well, I gave them some rice balls, and they really liked them. Okay, well, I'll go do that. And then he takes some, like, crappy burnt rice balls and goes up there and throws them down the hole.
What a dick.
And it's just like, why didn't they like my gift? It's like, well, it was the shittiest rice balls. Why would you expect them to love that? Well, I'll scare them all by pretending to be a cat, and that'll teach him. And then it doesn't work out. No, it works out poorly.
Okay.
I think he survives, but he gets lost and comes back days later, and and then he could never find the kingdom again. Like the hole was sealed or whatever.
You can't find the kingdom after you've lost it.
It was the pure land of the rats or something. I don't know.
Perfect.
There's just little things like that. It seems to be kind of like Goofus and Gallant, or like, here's the good way to behave, and here's the greedy, shitty way to behave. Don't do that kind of thing. They're little moral lessons or whatever. But I don't know. They were kind of fun, and I don't know how many more I'm gonna want, but they're reasonably well made. So, Crunchyroll, check it out if you want to watch that and many, 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 many other shows. There's too many. Like,
there's too many shows on Crunchyroll.
A little. Like, I was kind of hoping for movies. Like, if there's like, hey, do you got some, Castle in the Sky or something? It's been a while since I've seen that. It's like, no, they don't. They don't deal in feature films. It's all TV shows.
What do you think of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
I don't know that I've seen it.
Okay.
So I don't have any. I've heard that phrase before.
Okay.
Is there a video game?
Sure.
There
probably.
might be. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the basic?
I don't really know.
Okay.
Okay.
So there's a bizarre adventure.
The way it starts is kind of boring. It's just kind of like a rivalry or something between these two kids or something like that. Like, one of them is an asshole and the other is like a decent dude.
Okay. This is a good contrasting. Yeah.
And then, like, by the end of the first episode, like, it just starts ramping up like a stupid amount. And then I was like, oh, okay, this is an anime. There's like, in the second episode, there's like a mask that like has spikes on it to like, when you put it on, it just like destroys
attaches to your face or kills you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. And like turns you into like a monster or whatever from it. It's so fucking weird.
So Majora's Mask? Like,
you should actually watch at least 2 episodes, I would say.
Is it one of those shows that was really big though, and there's like 1,000 of them, and like One Piece or something?
No, not like One Piece, but yeah, there's a decent amount of stuff there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of like it when it's like, oh, this show was only 13 episodes. So
Yeah,
it's really
I do
easy to watch that way. Or if they're just really, like, there's no real narrative. It's 3 minutes, it's 5 minutes, it's some short little, like, amusing thing.
Yeah.
Those have been kind of where I've been at with this stuff so far. But we just signed up, so I think we had one or the other before. Like
Okay.
Funimation or something. We were watching some Cowboy Bebop on there.
Okay.
But I don't know what it was. Maybe it's just the amount of love that show has or something, but wasn't having like, oh, I need to watch the next one. It's just like, I'm okay.
Do you have that
know,
with any?
where like a show really took hold of my Death Note, I found like actually compelling.
Huh.
It's like, I need to see what happens next. Let's watch another one. Like, it actually did that for me. I haven't had that happen.
Since?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Like with anime specifically. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of kind of weird late... Like, I did read a manga recently, Tokyo Babylon, which didn't get fully animated into a series. But that kind of just stirred up some kind of, like, memories of how I've seen other shows play out and stuff like that. Like, what is the Vash the Stampede? What's that show? Trigun?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just where there's, like... There just seems to be, like, a lot of the last act plot reveal of what's really going on.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they just seem to love structuring their stories where it's just kind of like, introduce everybody,
Mhm.
and then a lot of just kind of one-off adventures happen.
Yeah.
Little things, like, oh, there's these bandits or whatever, or in Tokyo Babylon, it's like, oh, there's this sad ghost, and we found out what was bothering
Yeah.
that ghost and exorcised it from this area, essentially, or whatever. Like, there's kind of just these tales of tragedy all over Tokyo. And then at the end,
Mm-hmm.
then we finally go like, oh, hey, Vash has this crazy brother, and they're gonna fight now, or whatever. It's like, he had a crazy brother? Yeah, he did this
Yeah.
whole time. He was behind
Just
the
like
scenes.
more
It's like,
exposition.
what? Since when? It's like, they were on a space station together. Like, there's all this stuff that just kind of like all comes to the front at the end, and it's just like, oh, well, that explains his crazy robot arm and all that shit, but why didn't you seed this throughout the show instead
Yeah.
of just like a bunch of stuff that doesn't really matter, and then at the end it's like really punchy. But it does make for like a cool ending, so
It's
maybe
Japan.
you end the
That's
show
how
on
they
a
do.
really cool note.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's weird.
Did you see Food Wars?
No.
You should check that one out.
Is that 13 episodes? Is that easy to do? Or
It's not 13, but
it's not.
I think the
an
first
insane
like
amount.
season is like 19 maybe or something like that.
Okay. I don't, or, okay, actually even Evangelion sort of does that too. With,
Okay.
like, a lot of little adventures, and then there's kind of big
A big thing.
reveals later. I
Uh-huh.
think it was the 14th episode or something is where it gets real.
Okay.
But then it's not on all the time after that. It's kind of like just a different thing, and then crazy nonsense.
Then
happens at the
something.
end. But there's always crazy nonsense right at the end for you. So does Food Wars have crazy nonsense, you're saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the true nature of the conflict is revealed, and
It's
what?
it's like a shonen anime where
Betrayal.
there's like a competition and stuff like that, but it's about chefs
Okay.
and like
I might like that, or
it's,
I might like that.
It's
I
pretty
find
great.
reality TV around chefs nauseating, but
This isn't.
okay.
This is not like that at all.
But I did like Seconds, that book about the time traveling mushrooms and everything.
think like Naruto, like the like school for ninjas. Only this
Okay.
is a school for chefs,
Okay.
and
Well animated chefs.
and like when they make good food, it's like as people are eating it, they get these like weird like hallucinations and delusions that they're like, I don't know, just weird shit's going on, orgasms, all that.
That's like
sort
in
of stuff.
Ratatouille when he bites the ratatouille. And
I've never seen it.
gets this flashback to his childhood. Okay.
Okay.
It's about food.
I mean,
It's-
kind of like the flashback childhood, but not really. I think like one of the ones is like something that was honey based somebody ate. Like they liked it so much that they started like hallucinating that they were falling into a giant flower in like this field and like getting naked and orgasms are happening and
trippy.
like,
But it's so transcendently good,
yeah.
and they convey that with crazy imagery.
And then when the food is bad, it just like There's like a weird like elephant in the room, just like standing there looking at them. Like it's just like these weird things where it's like this
surrealism.
This is just like a bad like food
or trip
experience.
Okay,
Yeah.
so acid trip. Animation.
It's really dumb.
Okay,
it's really really dumb, but holy crap, it's good.
Food Wars.
Yeah.
So you watched every one of those?
No, I watched probably. I don't know how many seasons there are. I think they're on their third now. I watched like most of the first season. I just didn't get back to it.
There's a lot of shows out there. So.
There's a lot.
But elsewhere on the internet, there's this weird black hole called Reddit.
Yeah, where quality goes to die.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm looking for there, other than it's just... I used to go on Reddit a lot, and it used to keep me up really late, just kind of like, oh, there's new stuff! Oh, there's new stuff! Look at that! There's new stuff!
There's,
like, just this kind of constant stream of nonsense.
I mean, you've gone on record saying that was one of the things that took you away from the internet.
Away from the internet, so I don't know what I'm hoping to have happen this time. There's a lot more politics going on now.
Yeah.
There's a really popular subreddit that's all about this this new guy. I don't know. He's been around for a long time, but he finally became president or something.
Oh,
I think we talked about it. I heard about it on a show.
Yeah.
Did anyone get mad at us, or do we just not really have... Okay, good. We're Canadians. I don't know. We're a little disconnected from the world of U.S.
From
politics,
reality. Just in general, from reality.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's been a lot of... Like, it's weird, because it's like every now and then they'll be like, oh, that's actually a really cool picture. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
That's some, like, weird frozen street in Russia somewhere, and there's this kind of cool-looking apartment building.
Or, like, that's a great cat. Or something.
Like sure. There's like Startled Cats is a pretty quality collection of stuff, but I've seen all the best stuff because you just go to it and go top sort by like all time.
Yeah.
Just show me the best stuff ever that's ever happened.
You don't go by new and see like the new stuff people are putting out?
Not usually.
Okay.
Because it's like then you're gleaning through it for the best stuff, and there could just be like, I've already seen this one. This is a repost. Like
there's a lot of reposts.
I'll just downvote you, I guess. But yeah. That's been eating up a lot of time, unfortunately. I should probably
stop.
Lean off of that again. But
is it on your phone?
It's on my phone.
That's the problem.
So it's really easy to look at that.
Because I think if you, like, limited it to, you get up in the morning, have, like, a cup of coffee, instead of, like...
check my emails, check my
Instead of, like, stopping and, like, having a newspaper while you're drinking your coffee, you just go to your computer, read Reddit.
Like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're done.
I do feel like sort of a little more like in touch with what's going on. Maybe just being like, oh, that's what people think is funny right now, or whatever. Or like, oh, there's this really popular Kermit meme right now. Okay,
is there?
Yeah.
Oh, and
I don't know where that image comes from, but it's presumably from one of the TV specials. It's Kermit talking to himself. So it's like there or something that looks basically exactly like Kermit but wearing a hood. I don't know which special it comes from. I watch a lot of Muppets, but I don't know what's going on with this. It might be one of the newer movies or something. But it's essentially like it seems to be around the theme of like self-sabotage or something. Like me, oh, I should really go do that. Also me, oh, whoops, I love pizza or something, and you go do something.
I'm looking this up right now.
I don't know the exact formula that you're supposed to be using with this thing. I'm not a practitioner of memes.
So if I just put in Kermit meme,
I think you'll probably turn up this new one that's going around, and there'll probably be a big breakdown of when it first happened, when a spike in interest happened, all that kind of stuff.
Apparently there's 23 hilarious Kermit memes.
Yeah, there's also him sipping tea and stuff, but that's an older one.
I mean, the tea one is the one that I know.
Yeah.
Is it like this one?
No.
Okay.
There was a reaction of Kermit's face all scrunched up, which is great stuff. I mean, Jim Henson in general. Maybe type Kermit Hood. I don't know.
Oh my god. This?
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
What's going on there?
Yeah, it's almost like he's talking to like a Sith version of himself.
Or like Gollum talking to himself, or it's got elements of that.
Okay, I see. So the idea is that there's like a light Kermit and a dark Kermit, kind of like an angel and a devil on your shoulder.
Sure.
And that's what the meme is.
Sinister
Yeah.
version of yourself also says,
Like,
yeah.
this one specifically is me, I'm gonna stay out of drama this year. Also me, start some drama.
Haha,
Yeah. Okay.
crafty.
New meme. Okay.
Sorry to bring this up, but that's the kind of nonsense I've been drinking every single day, so I had to purge some of it somehow.
Right. Kermit meme.
Yeah.
Alright.
Hopefully more, just, this is more like, I chose to do this, and I read up on this thing, and now I've been doing this very purposefully, less like just blah. There's been a book I was curious about for some time called The Tetris Effect, which came out a while ago, a couple months ago. It's this year, though.
Okay.
There's been 2 Tetris books, I think, this year.
Would you say it's the best Tetris book of the year?
It's the best Tetris book I have read so far. I've heard there's the other one's kind of a graphic novel that details some of the same history. So if you like pictures, if you're a little kid, if you need the help.
If you're an idiot.
No, I've been meaning to check this one out too, but it might be kind of dumb to read over it again. Like
if it's the same stuff.
The exact same basic content. Just detailing the it's called The Tetris Effect. It's by Dan Ackerman. He's a CNET writer, I guess. It details the origins of Tetris and kind of more importantly, like how it got licensed while still behind the Iron Curtain during the Cold War.
Right.
And all that kind of messy legal stuff that happened, which I had some kind of like, I've heard that went really weird, but like, just one of those little like, Alexei Pajitnov, he didn't make billions of dollars, but it's the best-selling video game of all time, yet tragically, blah, blah, blah. You kind of hear stories like that, and then it's just like, oh, whoa, why would that happen? It's like, communism, it's just the times and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, this guy, Alexei, really loved to Trominos when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Kind of put together this, like, simple kind of prototype thing on his Electronica 60 computer.
Right.
Black and white, made of ASCII art is my understanding, like really old stuff in 1984. And then just kind of, it tracks like how that bled out from like one research center in Moscow to like Hungary and then to the rest of the world. Like this licensor guy kind of signing deals before he really has any like authority to. Like this guy Robert Stein was kind of getting telex messages that were like, okay, well I'm going to interpret this as I'm allowed to do this, as opposed to yes, we're open to negotiations now and start selling this. Like it was
right.
But it's kind of a weird thing because the way Tetris got out and about, it wasn't like ported in a traditional way. It was like remade every time.
Yeah.
Because it's just such a kind of basic conceit. It's just like, oh, I see what's going on here. And like competent programmers can just kind of make their own.
And it wasn't trademarked yet, right?
Well,
like
that idea is foreign to communism. So it's not really like we have ownership of it and it's for money and stuff. Like it ultimately, there became this organization called the Elecgorg Technica, shortened to ELORG. Okay. That was kind of the body in charge of it in the Soviet Union.
ELORG is
pretty great. Yeah. And actually, from all of this, I loaded up my old Tetris cart on NES, and it does credit ELORG at the front and Alexei Pajitnov. It's spelled weird. It's like they spell it phonetically as opposed to literally, so there's no J in it. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Because I've been reading that guy's name.
Electronorg Technica.
Yeah, it's a crazy Russian word, I guess, or portmanteau of various things or whatever. But, so they're the government body, essentially, that would eventually be getting money from all of this. But for a long time, like for at least a year and a half, Tetris was just kind of out in the wild selling copies from Russia with Fun.
Yep. You saw it right away. The relentless building block video puzzle.
That's fair.
I love it.
I don't know. Just going through Tetris again, just kind of like really thinking over the kind of quiet brilliance of Tetris, like just how it makes sense immediately when you start playing it. Right. Like there's something just really intuitive about everything about it. Yeah. Like it's just like, oh man, these things are falling. What do I do? And it's just like, oh, I can move it. Okay, I can move it. And then you start building this clumsy wall, and you're just like, oh, I can rotate them. And then it's just like, this is a game changer. And then within like 2 minutes, you know everything about it. And it's just doing it really well. And then, yeah, I'm there's obviously ways to be good at it, like proper strategies and stuff. But it also this book breaks down like a lot of the math about it, because there's been a lot of study of Tetris since it became a phenomenon.
Yeah.
About just like the kind of N and Z shaped pieces are going to mess you up. Like they're mathematically...
What N one?
The Z shaped kind of ones, like the so it's like these pieces. I'm holding up my hands.
An L?
No. The double pronged ones that create just gaps in your wall. They're the asshole pieces. The enemy pieces. You
Draw
understand?
it on the piece of paper.
What are you doing? Like, it's the simplest shape. That.
Why are you drawing a swastika?
I'm not. There. These guys. I drew it wrong. There. This is the worst audio content. What? It's got a little extra notch on it.
That looks like a dude bending over, just like, oh.
No, it doesn't, because there's but his neck. Okay, sorry, this is the worst audio. The N-shaped pieces.
And then like 2
for the listeners, that follow along.
So is it like 2 and then like 2 like that sort of thing?
Yeah, 2 and 2, like this, next to each other.
Okay,
Holding
but you
up my
can
hands.
turn it.
You could turn it,
Yeah.
but it's always a bad shape. It's never a great shape because there's a gap in it all the time.
I mean, I disagree. I use that shape a lot.
You have to because they're in there, but
Yeah.
they're the worst shape mathematically. They're
Okay.
the worst shape in the game because it's not conducive. It's actually the worst shape.
The worst shape is the square.
The square is easy.
The square sucks.
The square
Because there's all...
the square is easy. It
sucks because it never fills
it's
one
one
gap.
shape. Well, yeah, but you can account for its shape. Whereas these other shapes are just jerks. Anyway, this is not open for debate. This is mathematical, scientific truth.
They fill one gap.
If you're getting to 9999999, those shapes are your least favorite.
The best shape, obviously, is just the line.
Yeah, no, you always want those.
Yeah.
The straight line are great. The kind of notched one is okay too. But now we're talking about tetrominoes.
Which one?
Again, maybe I'm bad at...
one?
Okay, the one that's like this. This one.
Oh yeah, that one's good. Yeah, that's a good one.
Sorry, everybody.
The
Tetris,
one that's like a line with like a
little notch on
in the middle.
Yeah,
yeah.
That one fits in a lot of different situations. It's pretty good.
Actually, that might be the best one.
It's a good piece
in a weird way.
So anyway, this guy Alexei came up with this great game.
Yeah.
And by far the best-selling game of all time. Also was kind of revealed. Yep. Princess Bride playing cards. Around that same time, actually, 1987, it would have started getting out there. But this is before. Yeah.
Oh.
It was on PC at this point, like on computers, IBM, stuff like that.
Right.
The console rights was kind of the big thing that Nintendo was hunting for.
Yeah.
It's really Nintendo and this guy, Hank Rogers, who he was a third party to them, but they kind of like chose him to go be their ambassador to try to negotiate the rights and stuff. They just played it the most like fair with the Soviet Union. Like it was just like, oh, you didn't know that this has already been licensed? Okay, well we licensed it from this guy and we assumed it was legit, but now you're telling us no money's made it back here. Here's a check right now, kind of stuff. Like they were just really cool about it.
Okay.
And it was just like, it was kind of neat to just kind of hear the mechanics of that deal and how they appealed to just by not dicking around with the Soviet Union. Because it's just like, look, where's the money? We made this thing. No money's coming in. We just keep getting these like cryptic messages and people trying to sign contracts and stuff. What's actually happening? Okay, here's what's actually happening. It's already been everywhere. Hundreds of thousands of copies have been sold already.
Yeah.
Like
it's a phenomenon.
People are making money.
Yeah.
We also like this kind of the earliest days of the Game Boy like planning.
Yeah.
I love that a lot of the big hook of the story is like that because that deal was huge. The launching the Game Boy with Tetris was apparently a huge boon to that system and everything.
Oh, for sure.
So I don't know. It was just a fun read to be like, this is a big thing that happened and all the little details as to how it went down. Generally well written. Like I've read a bunch of kind of video game centric books, and they do kind of narrativize history a lot, kind of make up conversations that probably didn't happen exactly that way.
Sure.
This sort of does that occasionally, but it generally shies away from like attributing quotes to people. It's more just like, we'll just broadly talk about like the tone of this conversation as we understand it from interviewing this person subsequently, kind of stuff. So it, like, there's that Console Wars book I read about the Sega. Just about Sega. It was about the formation of Sega and Sega of America and how they kind of made the Genesis a big deal and all this kind of stuff. That really narrativizes a lot, like kind of attributes a lot of character to the president of Sega and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, did this really happen? Like, did this dopey conversation actually take place like this?
Well, it might have, actually.
Maybe, but it, like, I kind of was scrunching my eyebrows a little more reading that one. This just kind of generally lays out the history for you a little more straightforwardly.
Okay.
And then there's kind of like little one-off chapters that'll just kind of give you some extra information about like applications of Tetris in psychological research.
Right.
Kind of like some of the math stuff I was talking about, I think was also an offshoot about like trying to get the perfect game. Like, can you beat Tetris was kind of a question for a while. I guess there was an influential Wired article that came out in 94 about Tetris addiction.
About beating Tetris?
Well,
Tetris addiction.
about like just this is your brain on Tetris, like just this is too awesome. Like this dude played the Game Boy version like intensely for months until he could finally say he beat it, because I guess there is like a credits or something. Like the game will, good job, you did it, and then a rocket takes off and it's like, oh thank God.
Oh yeah.
Like I can actually put down this game now because I won.
You're right.
I'm never gonna play this
that
again.
Little rocket thing. Before.
Yeah.
Okay.
The NES version I've been playing has a little rocket that seems to be a bigger rocket depending on the score you got. So like after 40,000, it's a noticeably bigger rocket than if you got 35,000 or something like this. I tend to be just like, oh crap, level 9, and then I die. Which the book also outlines like several different versions of Tetris. Like I said, it's not ported every time, it's remade by somebody. Right. So Ed Log apparently made a really cool version for Tengen on the NES that came out for like 1 month before Nintendo locked up all the licensing and stuff, legitly.
What's the difference?
It slowly gets faster, as opposed to jumps in speed every 10 lines.
Oh, I see.
So it just kind of like sneaks up on you that it's getting more difficult, which that sounds really cool to me. That cart is sort of a collector's item because only like 100,000 or so made it out there. I was checking Amazon last night. It's like, okay, if I have $90, I can acquire it. Yeah. It's obtainable. There's this other version that came out on the Genesis. Actually, the thing I just said is a lie. It didn't come out. It was made, manufactured, but then the licensing stuff got locked up, and then they were supposed to destroy all those copies. So only like 10 ever made it out and about. So they've been trading for way too much money.
I'm trying to find
like tens of thousands of dollars.
Who made this Tetris again? The
Sega version?
No, that original one or whatever.
Tengen. It was the kind of bootleg black cart people.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, not bootleg, but there was like this really tense relationship with Tengen that the book also kind of details in more than I knew. I you know about the lockout shit?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I know that, like, I've seen these pictures before.
Yeah. Black Cart Tetris is I think it has a different tagline, too. It's like the Soviet mind puzzle
game. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, it's like a gold cover.
Yeah.
A golden red cover. Yeah.
Which I'm curious about that version, because, like, the NES version is okay. It's the version I have around, and it's still of that era, so I was kind of happy to be playing, like, the actual software that the book is talking about.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have the music that everyone associates with Tetris, because I'm pretty sure that's the Game Boy soundtrack.
Yeah. Oh, so, you mean Type C?
No, well, Type C on mine is like weird, ethereal, like it's really like strange. That was a terrible rendition of it, but it's not like some Russian folktale like song that
it's not the
it's not that.
Yeah.
There's the Nutcracker Suite is in there. That's music A in the NES version I have. And then music B seemed vaguely familiar to me, but
which one's a Nutcracker Suite?
Oh man.
Like, I'm just trying to picture it in my head, and I can't.
Yeah.
Nutcracker.
Hopefully I evoked it for people who know their opera better than I do.
What's the Nutcracker music?
I can't just... I'm not a music man. What do you...
He's a nutcracker.
That's it.
Nutcracker, man.
But in 8-bit, so...
yeah, right.
Essentially.
Right.
But yeah, so it's just not kind of hitting that exact note. I don't have the Game Boy version, and now I'm kind of like,
you should.
Oh, I want that.
I had it.
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell it is now.
40 million copies or so made it out there. It was a big thing.
You're statistically likely to find a copy.
They shouldn't be hard to find. Whereas this 100,000, that's pretty rare, and then 10 copies, like, people are killing each other for that thing. So
10 copies?
The Genesis one. Like
10?
10. Because it wasn't released. It was, like, leaked out of the warehouse kind of thing. But they're fully produced, like, box art, and, like, they were ready. They just didn't
They were ready to go to stores.
Well, it was just weird, like, hearing about all these licenses. Because, yeah, people were sub-licensing it for different territories and stuff without the correct permissions. And then that all kind of got sewn up in 1989. So it kind of stopped some of this from happening. But...
So there was a copy of this Tetris you're talking about.
On eBay, right?
For $1 million.
That was the buy it now.
In 2011.
Yeah. And then the bids got somewhere around 20 grand, and I think the seller refused that, and then it's probably still locked up or whatever.
You're talking about this, right?
Yeah, that
Okay.
I found this story last night too. It seems to be the main thing about the Sega Genesis Tetris that is out there. Like, the main question I had is like, well, why is it so rare? And then it seems to be it was ready to go, but unlike the Tengen version that actually was out on the streets for a while, this never had that window of time, so no one had access to it.
Gotcha. Okay. For anybody who
sucks.
wants to look it up, it's red by the looks of it, with a golden palace and golden Tetris.
Yeah, the main cover.
On a Sega.
So if you find that at a garage sale or something, you just play it as cool as you can and just go, oh, $10.
I mean, you just walk off with it. It's a garage sale. What are they gonna do?
Well, you gotta give them $5 or something. Come on.
No, you don't.
You should.
You should.
Because you just found $1 million, but you gotta play it cool,
Okay.
Or else they'll go, wait, that's mine. And then...
If you found it on the street,
yeah.
Right?
If you were just shopping around and or just found it on
Well, you just found it.
You just found a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could get it for $5 or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's just say you have a copy.
You have a copy. You're just oh wait, my dad has it.
Do you sell it? Or do you play it?
You just play it.
I would play it.
Play some Tetris.
Yeah.
And just know it's the rarest Tetris out there. It's just this is the finest burgundy. Burgundy. That's a color.
Yeah.
Finest brandy.
Finest burgundy.
Finest burgundy. The best shade of burgundy you've ever seen.
Because it's audio only, nobody saw you do the cup.
Yep.
The cup thing.
This is terrible. Just know that you're enjoying Tetris in a exclusive way.
I would probably get it put in some block of something,
Lucite or something.
Yeah.
Just keep it preserved forever. Yeah,
because it's Tetris. Who fucking cares? I'll download a ROM of that copy.
There's a lot of the sales that are out there, the numbers are mostly downloadable copies because it's on mobile and all this stuff. So it's just kind of including the free version. It's somewhere 500 million copies or something insane. Actual seems to be somewhere closer to 170 million, which is still by far the best-selling game ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, just Tetris all the time. It's a cool game. I don't know if people know. I think I'm very more inclined to that slowly ramping up. That just sounds better because it's playing this NES version. It's I'm at 79 lines or something, and it's just oh crap. As soon as I do anything, it's going to jump and get way harder now.
Yeah.
It just kind of knowing that kind of brinksmanship isn't that fun. Where it just kind of lulls you into this kind of oh, I'm just stacking all the blocks. And then it is quietly doing the scaling. That sounds just better in general. Yeah. So I kind of want this Tengen version. But anyway, Tetris. The book's okay. It's, kind of really 2 years are really the main focus of what's going on, but it kind of chronicles some of the major players from how they got into computing and how they got into gaming and stuff.
Cool.
The guy Hank Rogers is actually kind of an interesting backstory in terms of video games because he was living in Japan and he developed one of the very first fantasy RPGs for that market ever.
Which one?
It was called The Black Onyx, and it came out in 1984. So it like predates Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest and all this stuff. It was just kind of neat that like a Westerner brought that genre to Japan,
and then they
were like, "Oh, this is great," and kind of inspired by D&D and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, totally. But
just putting it into video game form and selling reasonably well in the
Black Onyx.
Japan. Yeah, The Black Onyx. I think there's a sequel too, but there's only 2 of those. It sounds really like old and clunky by today's standards, but it was a mind bender in 1984. I think that's when it came out.
So I just looked up some pictures of it. Imagine really, really old, like PC 3D.
Yeah.
Where it's just like the walls weren't even like
fully drawn.
You're in a dungeon, right?
Yeah.
And the walls aren't dungeon-y. They're just like yellows and teals. Like basically the color.
Wow, yeah.
Basically the colors that you would get from just like
kind of wireframe 3D
plugging in like an old computer. So like you get the RGB and then like the CYMK.
Some imagination required to put you in that dungeon with all the creatures and stuff.
Totally.
But I don't know. It was kind of just old school game.
Back then, this would have been amazing. Just straight up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. If you fired it up in its time,
it's
like, oh, wow, there's so many monsters in here and stuff. Like, that was the main thing. It was trying to get that number of creatures up as opposed to how well they animate. So it's like, well, there's only like 1 or 2 frames for each one, but there's like 30. So that's crazy, right? And you're just like, well,
in a way,
a bigger bestiary is kind of cool, so sure.
Yeah.
I guess flash forward decades to super slick looking modern video games. I played a lot more of that Doom, the Bethesda id Software PlayStation 4 version, which I said the loading times were kind of the thing last time, but
they got better.
No, but I just got used to it. I think I kind of have a podcast accompanying to me now while I'm playing, so it's just kind of okay. Well, I'll just listen in a little more intently now while this load screen happens. I've been to hell.
Okay.
I got that big gun, which was pretty fun. I like how they hyped up that thing. Did you get it?
No, I didn't play as far as that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been sticking to my kind of play a complete level
every day sort of thing.
Generally, I skipped a day, so I did 2 big levels yesterday.
Okay.
What I consider a level is any kind of like when it gets to a save screen. So there's kind of just these big sections of the game that will happen where you have like possible combat points you can get. There's 5 for any one area. And then by the end of that is probably an hour or 2 of gameplay per chunk of this. So it's
okay.
Yeah. And ultraviolence is still the way to go.
Yeah.
I've been having a lot more fun doing that.
Have you had a lot of just deaths?
No, like it just kind of really necessitates you to use your arsenal like completely. Like it's just like I have to use rockets. I have to chainsaw this guy to get more ammo. I have to use the BFG now because oh my god, like just stuff like that where it's just I was not expecting 2 more giant demons to show up. I need to use everything I have right now because I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
So it just makes it more frantic and way more enjoyable that way. Like I've had there was like 1 or 2 times where it just seemed to be kind of like it was really the introduction of the Pinky Demons. I was just like, what is happening? Because I shot the one twice and it blew up, and then this other one took 5 shots and it didn't die. Like, what is happening? But I think you're supposed to shoot them in the back. Like, they charge at you.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of been evading them and then trying to hit the fleshy part.
Yeah.
Like, more directly. I've been using the Gauss gun for that.
The Gauss gun?
Gauss.
Yeah.
It's kind of almost a railgun kind of looking thing. It's pretty cool. And yeah, just the upgrades and stuff. Everything about just how that game generally feels, I've been really enjoying.
It's really good. I need to go back and finish it.
The one thing I've been kind of like scratching my head a bit is just you pick up little collectible story things.
Yeah.
And I just don't care at all.
Okay.
Because it's just so against the grain of, like, the pace of that game.
Yeah.
It's just, like, super fast paced, like, just running and jumping and blasting everything. And it's just like, hey, go into your menu and just read a couple paragraphs.
But you don't have to.
No,
Did you
not
ever
right
play
now.
an original Doom? There's, like, no story in there. You're
in
Doom guy.
Yeah. But Doom 3 kind of had more like, hey, audio logs and that kind of stuff.
Doom 3 is...
But I actually played through Doom 3.
Doom 3 is widely renowned as not like a Doom game.
It's at odds a bit. This is more of the older stuff, but it still has a little bit of the new in terms of like story and stuff. There's little sequences and stuff too where it's like a character's going to talk to you for a little bit.
But Doom Guy himself is even like, fuck. Like,
so yeah, smashing screens and stuff. I think they just call him the Doom Slayer and some of the mythic lore stuff that you'll discover where it almost sounds like Dr. Claw talking to you, which was pretty cool.
Right.
When I hope you return to the Hell area, because I was only in there for like one level.
Yeah.
And then you leave, but it has all this like unique stuff for Hell. But it's still kind of goofy in that it's like basically the exact same constraints. It's just like, you found the yellow skull. Now you can open the door. Like, it's the same, colors and basic gating. Yeah, it's like you found the key, but now it's a metal-looking skull, and you ram it into this thing.
Yeah.
Which, great. I fell into the lava once, and the guy just does the T2 thumbs up, which I thought was funny. Like,
that's pretty good.
There's just little things that happen occasionally that are just like, it's great. And it's not music that I'd normally, like, listen to, but it's in the context of its game, it's perfect.
Yeah,
like it's just I don't know how they're doing some of the way music just ramps up during like a major encounter, but it just seems to kind of continue to get more insane as stuff does.
Would you say it's the best shooter of the year?
That I have played, but I have not been into this like latest wave of the big three, I guess, like the Battlefield, the Call of Duty, and the Titanfall.
What about...
So, I'm curious about those, but I'm having a good time.
Sky?
You do have a gun. This is a much better shooter.
Not only do you have a gun, you're forced to use it on everything. To use
it. It's your tool. You have to use it. I like that game more than most. I guess calling back to Reddit briefly, they hate that game. Like, the community on there is so mad at that game, and I'm just kind of lurking or whatever, just kind of being like...
I think they're just mad at that guy.
They're just... At this point, it's just, I hate Sean Murray, and the website.
It's, like, bled into the game.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just... The expectations that people let happen, I don't know. Like, but I guess... That's the thing. I'm not clued into that, like, preview cycle of video games. So I'm not, like, I saw that trailer at the VGX. I've probably said some version of this before, but I'm just gonna do abbreviated. Like, I saw that game existed, got the kind of basic outline of what was going on, was intrigued enough right there, and then just that was it. I wasn't watching trailers, I wasn't listening to podcast interviews, I wasn't, like, following it.
You were done.
I was just on board. And then it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to play this. Oh, yeah, you got a spaceship and everything. This is great. And then all the kind of blowback that happened was just kind of a bit mystifying. Because it's like, oh, you thought you could do that? It's like, we said in this one interview. It's like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. So, and it's hard to get angry in hindsight because you're already spent 100 hours playing it.
Yeah.
So it's just like, well, I already played it, so I don't know.
I was gonna say it's easy to get angry.
Like, it has crazy colors,
so I'm okay with
weird alien pyramids, so I kind of like that. I don't know.
Sure.
Like, I'm almost like embarrassed and defensive about how much I got on into that game. Like, I was actually looking at my trophies and stuff. It's just like, oh man, like 1.2% of people platinumed this game. Like, nobody bothered to get this far in this. Or like the zoology ones where you're just kind of scanning all the animals, which was the most tedious, most annoying, not fun thing that I did in that game. A lot of people haven't done that either, which makes sense, but...
1.2% of people is a lot, though. That game sold a lot.
Yeah, but that's... What is that? Like, how 400,000 copies? Or
for platinums, though, not a lot of people platinum any game.
I guess, but... Like, around 1% still seems like...
Well, it's probably a good 4 to 9%, like, for less than maybe usual, depending on the game. But, like, I would say probably 5 to 10% of people platinum any game, right?
That's the thing. Like, platinums are usually, like, insanely demanding. I feel like the thing here was just kind of do all the things that you can do on this menu. Like, it really wasn't that hard. I found, like... Far Cry Primal was another platinum I got. That was more kind of, you have to concentrate on doing certain things. This was more just like, here's the list of milestones, just do that. That's all the structure we have in this game. It's not even get to the center of the galaxy or warp a billion times or anything. Like, they didn't kind of put zany trophies in there. It's just do the list. And I was like, well, there's a list. I have to do this list. And then I did the list. And then I was warping over and over and then stopped doing that. But
so
anyway.
Yeah, that is low then, if it's that easy.
I don't know. I even if it's, I just feel like the amount of people out there who have played as much of that game as I have isn't high, but they were infuriated by the game. And trying to figure out what that's about. But anyway.
So Doom's still good, basically.
Yes. I don't know where I am in relation to the end of the game. It feels like a lot of major stuff has already happened. So I'm just kind of like, is this winding down or not? Because I've kind of lost sense of how much time I've spent playing it because of the daily way I've been playing it. Yeah. So I might be at the 10 or 12 hour mark already, but it didn't feel that way because I'm only playing it a little bit every day.
Right.
So it's just kind of like, oh, it's already over. But there's the arcade mode, I guess. You can go back to the same levels and there's challenges and stuff. And presumably you unlock even crazier difficulties after you beat it. Okay. Does that sound fair? Is that how the previous Dooms usually go about things? Because, like, while it is a lot harder than the Hurt Me Plenty, it's still manageable. Like, there's areas where, like, I'm not dying multiple times. Like, I can just clear an area first time kind of stuff sometimes. Because it's just like, well, I love this rocket launcher, so I'm just going to blow up everything with it.
Did you ever play original Doom Ultra Violence? Like, the top difficulty? Is it Ultra Violence or is it like Nightmare or something? I can't remember.
See, that's where I think Nightmare might be even higher, but it's not available to you right away.
Okay.
So, I have the Doom port for 360 that I played for a while, but I don't really remember if I pushed the difficulty too much on that.
The difficulty at the highest in those games is ridiculous because things just keep spawning and they can two-shot you and like they're just coming after you the whole time, so you have to... They expect you to run and gun through the whole level, like, right away.
The thing I remember from, like, back when Doom was more contemporary, like, the late 90s or something, it just seemed like the way a lot of people played was God mode. Like, they just cheated.
Yeah.
So, at some point, it's like, well, if you're just no-clipping through stuff and not finding the keys and solving the mazes, like... I don't know how many people beat the game legitimately.
I think... Ultra Nightmare is the highest for the one you're playing.
Okay.
Is what it's called.
You know, it's probably, like, I played an odd amount of Doom 3. Like, I actually played through that game. I think I played through the expansion, too.
I was actually talking about that game
Resurrection
2 days ago.
Yeah. Do you like it in hindsight? Or?
Yeah, no, I was talking to somebody and I was saying that, like, as a Doom game, it's crap, but, like, it's a decent survival horror thing.
Well, it doesn't have the same, like, fast-paced, frantic action you want from the older id shooters, but it has its own kind of thing going on. And it's still got, like, cool, gnarly weapons that you're using.
I like the flashlight thing.
Like that it's separate?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I got over that. Like, it didn't really bother me. I've heard more complaining about it than my time with it actually being frustrating, so...
I like it because... the same way that I liked it in Resident Evil 4 where you couldn't move when you were aiming. Because it kind of adds to the whole thing where, like, you have your flashlight out, but so you can see, but you're not protected.
Yeah.
And then to protect yourself, you have to take away your sight, basically. I like that kind of...
And you still get, like, some light from the muzzle flash, so there's, like, intense... And at some point, you do just get used to, like, there's probably a monster behind me.
Yeah.
Like, I've walked down a hallway, let me just check, you know, like, you kind of get into a flow of that game.
Okay, so Ultra Nightmare is actually Nightmare difficulty with permadeath enabled.
Sweet.
So
if you die in an area, you're done?
Dead. Yeah.
Do you go back to the beginning of the game, or...?
Probably. Or to your last save,
Last save? Okay. That sounds... And presumably this new one has it, too. So I guess I'll find out.
That's the one I'm talking about, is the new one.
Like, New Doom has that. Okay, cool.
And there was an article that somebody beat it.
Okay.
So that's cool.
That's probably a trophy right there. So that guy's trophy might be rarer than my trophies.
Yeah, 0.1%.
Yeah.
Just him.
It was just that guy.
Yeah.
So mathematically, it's the only way I can express that.
If only one person is named in it, then maybe.
Yeah.
And that game only came out this year, so he might actually be.
I guess a lot of the DLC has been multiplayer stuff. I haven't looked at it, but I know there's a certain kind of, like, I don't really like this multiplayer. I've heard on podcasts.
It's fine, the multiplayer.
Just
like,
the way the fundamentals play, it sounds like it should be fun.
It plays like Halo multiplayer.
Okay.
With Doom shit.
Dude, I like some of that Doom shit. Like, really just looking at the stat screen, you can just see, like, how much I like that shotgun and how much I like that rocket launcher, because it's, like, all I'm using.
Yeah.
But I love that you can remote detonate the rocket.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, I'm not going to hit this guy, but I'm going to splash damage him
for sure
every time, because I know I can do that. So it's one of my main go-tos.
And that's in the multiplayer.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I don't know. That potentially sounds fun.
It's actually fun. I liked it.
I plan to squeeze more.
But it's not the reason you come to Doom. It's just a nice little thing.
The multiplayer? Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas I guess there's the new Quake, which that's where you go for multiplayer, right? So people are kind of hoping that has the fast-paced awesomeness.
Yeah, I guess so.
Of old deathmatch kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which that definitely was a thing for a while that I was playing.
Quake 3 Arena?
Yes, but also just like, it's like, oh man, Super Shotgun. Like, there was just kind of like, when I got the Super Shotgun it was like, oh, this is great. I love this gun. I remember this gun. It's right here. It's got 2 barrels and everything. Like, the little rune challenges, I've been doing every one that I can find.
Yeah.
I missed one at some point, which sucks. But, I guess if I look at that as the progression through the game, I'm probably just past the halfway point. If those are paced out the same, or it's like, no, in the final area there's 4 of them or something. Like, I don't know.
It probably is something like that. I bet there's more near the end, I would assume.
I wonder if you can roll back through the game with the same kind of unlocks and stuff. Because there's all these little challenges, too.
Yeah, probably.
For, like, getting special glory kills and, like, death from above and all this kind of stuff, or using specific weapons. And,
yeah.
I don't know. It's got a lot going on. Hey, everybody wasn't lying. You know, you heard all those people giving it good reviews and stuff, but you're just like, I don't know. Nathan hasn't weighed in on it yet. I'm skeptical that id Software knows how to make software. I'm gonna wait.
It's part of their name.
They know how. They still know how. It's good. Anyway, yeah, we'll leave that there. Speaking of sci-fi, crazy weaponry, not really. There's that new Arrival movie.
Okay.
Not this Charlie Sheen classic. I know everybody out there, David Twohy, it's one of your favorites. Me too.
Yeah.
There's a new movie. Yeah, the Half-Life movie. Yeah. Basically, he's got a goatee and everything.
Yeah. Okay, wait, before you say anything.
Okay. I don't want to spoil this movie for you, because you haven't seen it, presumably.
No.
Right?
There's 2 contingents of people that I talk to regularly on the internet.
Alright.
There's a small minority, maybe, we're gonna say 5 to 6 people. That, like, I could, like, name you off on, like, Twitter and stuff. Not, like, people that I talk to, like, as a friend, right?
Okay, but
people that
are in your network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a small contingent of them that say Arrival is unimpressive and kind of dumb.
Okay.
There's a bigger contingent of people, I would say 96% of people, that say this is the best movie they've ever seen in their life.
Whoa. Okay.
Like, actual 9 and 10 out of 10s. Yeah,
okay. So, probably by my reaction, you're already figuring out which camp I'm in. Because I'm scared of... Okay. So, after I saw it, the illustration that kind of gradually came to mind was this. And tell me if this is an effective way of reviewing a movie. This is a new scale, brand new, invented Nathan Patton.
The balloon out of 10 for Titanfall 1.
Yeah. It's like that, but I think a little more thoughtful, hopefully.
Okay.
So, the thing that came to mind for me after I watched it was, this is akin to an extremely well-painted gray wall. Okay? Like, man, they didn't spill a drop. They coated that wall with gray paint. It is perfectly painted gray. So, that, in case you know, hopefully that's evocative, but I was kind of just not really in love with that movie.
Okay.
Like, I walked out of it just kind of going, that was well made, but it just didn't get where it needed to for me to, like, love it or form strong feelings for it. Like, it was kind of just this, like, dispassionate, like, oh, that's clever kind of reaction, which isn't where I love being after a movie. Like, when I see a movie, I know if I've loved it or not, and I was not in that state of kind of loving it. like trying to think through other stuff that's been like that for me. Like some Christopher Nolan stuff kind of does that for me, where it's just like that was well executed, but I just don't really care. Like, I don't know if I'll ever need to see that again. This at least had like a structural thing that I found like sincerely creative. Like it's like, okay, the structure of it and a major component of its story are like in harmony in a way that's pretty impressive. But yeah, just stuff it was trying to get at, I was just not connecting with it on a kind of character level, or like the stuff that was considered very emotional for the characters, I was kind of just apart from. Like I just wasn't getting pulled in on that side of it. Like, but then, you know, like saying the gray wall thing, like for me, it's like, well, but you know, to be clear, it is extremely like well crafted. It's done well. It's just what it is fundamentally is still like kind of a boring thing to me. Like it's just not what I want in general as a thing that would be like my favorite. So I am a little like, why is this getting at people in this way? I feel like there's an easy emotional button that the movie can push that might really connect strongly with some people. It's kind of like almost the same thing that really I feel was probably like working for Finding Dory for people. Like there's little like things about like when it presses like the family button. I'm just kind of like, oh, a mother's love for her child. Is there anything more beautiful than that? And it's just like, yeah,
this gray wall.
Yeah, well, no, that is a gray wall to me. You know, like that's just a really mundane thing.
No, but that gray wall is spectacular.
It's spectacularly well painted,
right?
But it's still a gray wall.
So
I would have preferred
it's more beautiful than
a blue wall.
Parents' love. Yeah,
I don't know, or an orange wall or something, or you know, a border on that wall. But they just didn't do that. So yeah, I'm probably like belaboring the point a little.
It's totally fun. I'm looking up the things that people have said, so I can throw these at you and see what you.
Okay.
This is for the.
I mean, for
of
those, should we do kind of a boilerplate, like for anyone who's not familiar with this movie, like just layout, like Amy Adams is in it.
Yeah, it's a linguist that's trying to talk to aliens, right?
Yeah, aliens have arrived on Earth. A team is created to try to communicate with them, but there's several other stations around the world where there's also an alien ship, so there's kind of an international effort to do this, but also there's tension there, because like some factions aren't, like they're more suspicious of the aliens and they might want to attack them, and it's like, no, we figured out something about their language, but like just kind of an international cooperation is necessary for this to go well, and that's kind of the main thing that's going on. And yeah, like Jeremy Renner's there, Forrest Whitaker's there. Like, really, for me, like sorry to bring it up over and over, but like that gray wall thing for me applies to like every single like component of it. It's like the performances are fine, but there's no like moment of acting that was like, oh, amazing. Like just a big splash of like color right here. It's just like, no, it's just fine.
It's fine.
Like the special effects are adequate. And honestly, part of the gray thing came from really just the color palette of the movie is
very
actually very like fog and kind of like, yeah, just clouds, and a lot of gray images are everywhere. And it like, maybe that's thematically like, oh, cause it's mystery. It's veiled in mystery. Like they're trying to solve it, but it's just boring to look at. It's gray to look at. Whether you love gray, maybe you love gray. Maybe it's your favorite color.
I mean, a lot of things go with gray. It makes other things pop.
There you go.
So it makes other movies look better.
I'm maybe more saying about how I feel about gray. Sorry if there's something to respond to. No, you were showing me a review.
These aren't. No, I was showing you a picture of gray.
Okay. Yeah, no. Like the main room they're translating everything in is shrouded in fog, so it's just gray all the time.
Great.
With black contrasts, and like there's elements of it that are like that is a creative thing. I haven't heard a story exactly like this about alien invasions before, and I can appreciate that, but in that kind of cold way where it's just like I appreciate it, but I'm just not like my brain is not in a joyous place right now. Like this movie isn't putting it there in any way. Like not even like there's like movies that are like, oh, this is upsetting or kind of grim stuff, but it's still like so well executed that it's making me like, it's getting me there anyway. Like even another film by the same director, Enemy, that's about a doppelganger and stuff. Like there was like some dream imagery in there that was like, that is so well realized. I'm really happy with that. Like I haven't seen a dream sequence done that well. This actually has a moment that is basically
that
from that. So having that familiarity with like, oh yeah, he's kind of pulled that trick before. Like just having that little thing too. It's like, I don't know. But yeah, this director, he's a Canadian guy. He's kind of like Prisoners was one of his, Sicario last year, Enemy, which came out kind of in between those, and Incendies was kind of his big arrival. I think it was nominated for Best Foreign Language Film 5-6 years ago. Something about, like, I don't know if it's fair after like 5 films or so to kind of say like that kind of dispassion seems to be just part of how he does movies or something. But Sicario didn't really do it for me either last year. Like it was another one where it's like, yeah, this is well acted. This has some moments that are like interesting, but it's just, I don't know. Like I'm just not.
What do you think of Prisoners?
I think I liked it more, but I rewatched it.
Yeah.
And it definitely like loses a little surprise factor, obviously, on the second time through. I think for me there, it's like that movie has a performance or two that's like better than average.
Okay.
So it's just like Gyllenhaal and Jackman are doing like good work and it helps that movie. Whereas this is just kind of, it's not, any slight against Jeremy Renner or Amy Adams. They're doing fine, but it's just maybe just the character writing or what they have the characters be interested in or whatever. Like there's just something about it that doesn't really have any moments that call upon all of their talents or something. It's just kind of, there it is. Whereas, Jake Gyllenhaal's hair is so good in Prisoners that you're just like, wow, that was the coolest haircut I've seen. Like 9 out of 10. That was amazing. And then you watch it again and go, oh, actually it's a 7 because I've seen the hair before.
Right.
But
so it loses some of its wow.
Sorry, yeah.
So
I'm getting lost.
I've heard Arrival as being described by certain people as the stupid man's Interstellar.
Weird. Okay, I didn't like Interstellar. So,
I know you didn't.
That doesn't really.
Another thing somebody
it
has
does
said,
kind of spell out things.
Okay.
Like it's hard to be confused at the end of Arrival about what's going on. Like if that's what they're saying.
Another thing that said,
it
wasn't good. Interstellar minus the parts that made Interstellar worth watching.
What were those though? See, this is a weird frame of comparison for me because I really don't like Interstellar at all.
Fair enough.
I'm baffled where it is positioned on the top 250 list. Also, like preface, I'm like weirdly obsessed with the IMDb top 250 list and get really judgmental and like intense about stuff that shows up on there.
Yeah.
So this is on there right now. It's like number 99. Interstellar is like top 30 or something, and I frown at it every day. A bunch of like Bollywood films are on there that I have no knowledge of at all. I just go like, a 2.5 hour musical? What? That can't be good. What are you talking about?
You haven't seen it though.
What are you talking about, India?
It might.
You like your movies too much.
Trump 2016.
Maybe it's fine. Maybe it's great. But I don't feel like I haven't grown up watching stuff like that, so I just don't know that I'll ever appreciate it. It's just like, no, they were singing and dancing literally the whole time. 2 stars.
Yeah.
Like that's just what it'll be like for me. So it's rough.
It's been compared to, it's like figuring out Bruce Willis was dead 5 minutes into The Sixth Sense and waiting for everyone else to catch up.
Oh, that part. Okay, well, I don't want to get at, like, the core.
No, we're not going to get at the core, but apparently it's, like, a super obvious thing.
Oh, no, yeah, sure. So, yeah, there was a component where it's like, oh, okay, well, I see. That was actually the positive quality I was alluding to, where the structure is implemented into the story. Okay. So it's like, it's there the whole time. And if you're just looking at the cast and what's going on, it's, like, easy to suss out a component of it. But it's not, I don't feel like that ruins anything. It's just kind of about that. It becomes kind of a thought exercise about something that I can't really allude to directly without ruining it.
Yeah.
There's like 1 or 2 comparisons I'm not making on purpose because they will ruin what's going on. So, sure. Even if it's a thing like where there's a twist, and if you're watching for the twist, it ruins the movie, I don't feel like this movie has shored up all of its points into that reveal. Like some movies do that, and the one okay, it's another top 250. Here's a little aside for you. I don't think The Usual Suspects, is a good movie because you can never watch it again. Like,
sure,
you can, but if you do and you're like trying to enjoy it,
well, it loses the quality it had
because
right away.
It's a surprise, and then when the surprise is known, then you're just like, oh man, Gabriel Byrne is here.
Yeah,
fuck.
That's
Jesus.
That's unnecessarily rude, but okay.
What a boring person.
I mean, that's true. Has he been in anything where he's not boring?
People say In Treatment's good.
Okay,
he has a whole series where he's talking to people, which sounds like a nightmare. So yeah, Gabriel Byrne, it's terrible. He's been on my list of just like I don't like this guy, and I apologize to
everyone
Gabriel Byrne. He's probably listening,
especially his family.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But, whatever. You made it into a Coen Brothers movie. You did all this stuff. It's fine. Miller's Crossing, he's there, and he's just not the best member of his class. Like, I just don't feel he's ever the MVP of any cast he's ever been in.
Yeah.
Like, ever. So, that I've seen. Hey, preface that. Little defensive thing right there. I'm going to pull that card. I haven't seen every Gabriel Byrne minute of film that's been made.
You should.
So...
Should I? It's all really good.
Oh, okay. Well, he's in like the 26th greatest movie of all time, so I mean, obviously.
All right, let's go.
Usual Suspects is up there somehow.
I'm gonna play favorites here, and I'm gonna tell.
Do you like Usual Suspects? Because right now I'm just standing out here on.
I saw it once, so
yeah, okay,
of course
good job.
I do.
I saw it twice and went, wait, what? Yeah, wow, this movie just wastes your time for like 95%
I'm sure
of it.
It does. I don't remember much of it
but
except the
Kevin
twist.
Spacey's charismatic dude, so I enjoy listening to him, but I don't know.
We're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna tell you exactly how...
I have another movie that falls into this top 250 rant.
Okay.
That I kind of almost forgot about. So, it's right up there in the same general category. Sorry, you want to make another point about The Arrival?
Yeah.
Sorry, Arrival. It's not The Arrival.
We're still talking Arrival.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to tell you exactly what Hank thinks of this movie.
Was that where those quotes were from?
No.
Oh, okay. Because really for me, like, I've only seen Interstellar one time, so, keep that in mind. I didn't feel like at the end of that movie, I was like, oh man, that was such a mind bender. I can't comprehend what just happened. I just felt like assaulted by the audio. I found the score offensive.
There's one part where, like, I think it's Michael Caine, whoever the old dude is on his deathbed.
His dying words get drowned out by organs exploding, and it was just infuriating to me. But I've harped on that a lot. Like, Hans Zimmer has qualities on occasion. I found that was just like the weirdest matching of images and sound. Like, it was just totally not synchronizing for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, just little moments of that movie just had, like, what is the tension here? Like, Casey Affleck is gonna beat my ass with a pipe if I don't get out of here. Like, there's no, like, it's not an equal time. Like, it's intercutting between two, tense things. Like, Matthew McConaughey's in some crazy cube world and trying to figure out how to communicate to his daughter. And, like, that's crazy. That's, like, that, I don't know. Can you survive in here? Is he gonna die? Like, this is a crazy, out of normal situation thing. On the other side of it, Jessica Chastain is trying to, like, suss out what's going on in this room.
Yeah.
And the only thing that is, like, oh no, I'm running out of time. I need to hurry to solve this or else the world will be doomed, is her brother's really mad and carrying a tire iron. Like, it's just like, you can't reason with him and just be like, listen, something cosmically crazy is happening right now. I need to stay here and suss this out. Humanity is in jeopardy. Oh, okay. Well, I was just mad about this thing, but you know what? That's actually really important. Like, to me, that always seemed like a solution that was right there of just, like, characters not being insane weirdos. Right.
Or just, like, talking really to each other.
Yeah, just talking. Just a little more dialogue would have made this a lot less tense. Like, it just seemed artificially tense in that moment. That was just one thing. That robot was great, though. Remember that robot? He was, like, made of, like, solid shape. Like, he was able to kind of adapt to various environments by the way he like rolled everywhere.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, that's a great robot design. You know what?
Right.
There's things in that movie, but anyway, I only watched it the one time. Anyway, so back to Arrival.
So Arrival takes ideas and images that are very familiar and uses them to tell a story I've seen before in a way that's not particularly compelling and is also kind of stupid. I did not have a great time.
I did not have a great time either. And yeah, it really, like, another thing that came to mind during the movie was this song I heard when I was like 5 years old watching Sesame Street about cooperation. And it's just, this is really just all this is about, is just the importance of cooperation. And I learned that a long time ago. So, I don't know. Some of the core parts of, like, the drama was not really blowing my mind, but...
So that pretty much sums up how
yeah,
you felt.
Really, though, Grey Wall is the thing I want to leave everybody with. That was
Grey
the
Wall.
thing that came together for me, of just, like, hopefully it conveys, like, both the positives and the negatives of what I was saying. Because, like I was saying, it's, like, really professionally painted, but at its fundamental, like, what it is...
It's a Grey Wall.
...is just not that exciting.
Yeah.
Like, inherently.
Oh,
so,
I'll bring up two other things that he told me about after listening to last week's episode.
Yeah.
The game you were talking about was Ori and the Blind Forest.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's it, exactly. Did I say blindness or something?
No, you said Blind Swordsman.
There you go, okay.
Yeah.
I thought the word blind, I had part of it. Okay,
Yeah.
Ori and the Blind Forest. Did you play that?
Yeah, I really liked it.
So
But not for the reasons that people...
Right, this is
want
the
that
Owl
game.
Boy conversation. Of
This
just, like,
was the
kind
Owl
of
Boy.
visual style
Yeah.
over, like, it actually playing well.
Right. And
But-
Ori is the exact opposite, where it plays well.
Does it
Like-
look nice? Or
It looks nice, for sure, but that's
Okay.
the thing people cared about. People
s-
didn't, like, talk that much about how that game is, like, one of the best fast platformers, like, of this generation.
Okay.
They just said it looks really nice, and it has that dumb beginning where a sad thing happens that it doesn't earn.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that component of it. But...
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, why would you?
Well, so Owlboy I actually heard talked about very favorably on a Bombcast recently.
Okay.
And I was kind of just like, wow, yeah, Paul's view just really just contrasts hard with all the stuff I'm hearing about this game, because people just say really, really favorable stuff about it.
What were they saying?
But they also mentioned the one thing that I had heard, which was the 9-year development thing.
Uh-huh.
And I just wonder how that impacts people's perception sometimes of just like,
Yeah, but I don't care.
oh, they worked really hard or something. But they just seem to be like, no, they're actually just enjoying the game. I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't looked at a frame of it personally. Like, I haven't watched any footage
What
of it
did
or
they
anything.
say about it that they liked?
They're just really enjoying it. Just, you're this owl guy and you team up with
Yeah,
these
that
other
sounds like the
dudes.
Bombcast, a bunch of guys
And,
who just say that
I
they
think
like
they said
something
it's
without giving any reasoning. That
some
sounds
sort
about
of
right.
Metroid-y kind of stuff, he said. And
Not really.
now I'm paraphrasing badly. But, I forget. Just mechanically unique? Is that fair to say at all? What you were describing to me?
Unique, yeah.
Okay, it actually does handle differently than
Yeah,
anything?
but
Okay.
it's not fun,
Okay.
to me, I guess.
Because to what I was hearing, it just sounded like a lot of switches and gates that only certain dudes can open.
Yeah.
Which to me sounded like my least favorite stuff from Donkey Kong 64. Where you have like a team of like 5 people, and you're just like, oh, I went all the way down here, but I need the coconut gun. So I gotta go back, switch. Now my guy
Actually,
can open it.
It's very similar to that, only you can call them instantly.
Yeah. So at least if it quick switch or whatever might make that less of a hassle.
Right.
But, and you know, that's a game where like, hey, you have different characters with different abilities and they can each kind of help you out, and that's kind of fun. But like,
Yeah,
are
sure.
you just not developing any affection for this cast of characters?
I don't care about any character.
Yeah.
The pirate is cool looking because he's a pirate.
They mentioned, yeah, he's got a shotgun or something.
Yeah, like a flamethrower shotgun thing. It's
Okay.
weird.
I don't know.
It's
Sorry,
like a
not to
blunderbuss, I
like
guess.
just undercut the Bombcast exactly, but they just, when they're enthusiastic, that's mostly what you hear. And
Uh-huh.
when they're just not feeling it, they don't really elaborate.
Well, the thing
sometimes,
is that I
so,
find they
I don't
never
know.
elaborate. When they say, like,
Well, I think there's
when
a
they
lot
say
of
that
fear
they
about
like
spoiling
something-
or something. Yeah.
then it's like, why do you like it? Because it's good.
Oh, it's real fun.
Yeah.
I'm just having a great
Okay,
time.
thanks, Brad.
It was Dan, actually, that was playing it.
Oh,
this-
yeah,
this-
even better.
This time.
Yeah, the professional one.
The professional one.
That's what we'll call him.
I don't know. They've been kind of in the background while I've been playing Doom and Tetris
I've kind of had
and
a
stuff.
stick in my ass about giant bombs specifically for the last while now. Especially because I really like the Beast cast. So going to
I
like
do really
the
like the
normal
Beast
bomb
cast.
cast, I don't like at all.
Yeah, I've kind of let several save up that I hadn't, because I keep up with the Beast cast. It's like, oh, it's Friday, sweet, get that new one.
Right.
But I've let kind of several stack up for the Bombcast, so I just kind of have some stuff. I still generally enjoy their year-end discussions because it's the one time they feel comfortable actually
talking about stuff.
Like spelling out exactly what is and isn't right about a game for them, kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
In explicit terms, so there's no kind of like, oh, I don't really want to spoil this one part though, so I'm not going to talk about why Brothers is good. It's just the greatest game I've ever played. Yeah. And it's like, well, what do you mean, why? And then it's just like, oh, now they'll actually talk about it. Oh, okay, yeah, that part was pretty clever, I guess. I don't know. I didn't love Brothers. I mean,
that's the one I listen to every year.
Yeah,
they're into the
end of the year stuff is good stuff. But I don't know. It's just background business while I'm shooting demons and stuff. It's been okay for that, or stacking blocks or whatever.
Understandable. Beastcast is just better.
I more intently listen to what they're saying. Yeah. I guess I also threw in a handful of other NES games while I had the old thing hooked up. And I guess part of that you could say is a side effect of not getting that classic. Yeah. Which continues to
what did you play?
Not happen. Popeye. Played a little bit of Popeye. I actually played through, like, to the end.
That, like, arcade?
The arcade game, yeah. Like, the Nintendo developed Popeye's trying to collect hearts and stuff, and Bluto's going to beat him up.
That was really funny when we were at that, like, arcade show.
Yeah.
There was, like, a Popeye machine. It's like, you're the only one playing.
It's like, no, but it's Popeye. I love this game. I had an Atari port of that.
Okay.
That I played a bunch when I was a kid, so it's just like, oh, dude, this game! I haven't seen this game forever. So, yeah. And I bought that at some subsequent con or something for like $5. No one cares about that game. But the one thing I will criticize Popeye for is at the end level, you're on a ship and you build a rope ladder all the way up to the crow's nest where Olive Oil is. Yeah. But they don't even show you climb up the ladder. It just ends and cuts to the game 2. It was dumb. It's just like, they should at least be a little like, they climb up there while Popeye the Sailor Man plays, and then hearts appear, and then it flips over.
Sure.
Come on.
Popeye.
Get
out of here. Fuck.
So I play a little bit of NES Open Tournament Golf, which is it's a pretty well-made golf game for 1991 or whatever on a console.
Your NES classics are so different.
Well, these are the games I was digging through my plastic tub and went, oh, dude, and pulled out of there. So,
okay.
Sorry if they're weird. I played a little bit of RBI baseball. Got smoked. Just totally. They have the 10-run rule in that game. So if the other team gets more than 10 runs than you, it's just game over. Which happened both times I played. But, you get a home run or something and be like, no, I'm doing pretty good. And then they get 6 or something.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, that was fun.
Yeah.
One time while I was eating, I set it on watch and you could just simulate a game.
Yeah.
Like, just like, California versus Minnesota. Just play some baseball for me.
Who won?
California was way more than 10 runs ahead, and it didn't end. Which was weird to me. I was like,
Minnesota caught up.
Oh, that's not how I thought it just was hard rule in the game, but it was like 17-6 or something. I was like, what? It's over. And then I just turned it off. It was like the 4th, 5th inning or something. I was done eating at that point. And then I think there was one more.
Mario.
It was not Mario. I have Mario Brothers 1 and 3, but I don't have 2 on a cart.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there was a few where it's like, I can play Zelda right now, I can play Metroid right now, like the ones that are in that thing that I want to play.
Yeah.
But I don't actually have them. So I think all the stuff I ended up playing is stuff that is not on that thing. So,
okay.
Although NES Open Tournament is actually in the Japanese one. Like,
great.
No joke. Like, people, it's like Mario Golf before Mario Golf. Like, Mario's in it.
So is, like, River City Ransom, right?
I think it is, yeah, you're right.
Which is super annoying that it's not.
Yeah, no, you read the international list, it's like, oh, some of these are way better, but oh well. I can't get it anyway, so meh.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was a 4th game, but oh well. It didn't stand out. It just couldn't stack up to the golf and the baseball.
Did you hear the last episode of TDP? From last week?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
Did John get one or?
No.
Oh,
but
okay.
we didn't have like any news except for one thing I pulled for news.
Okay.
That was specifically that Walmart promised they're going to stock more of the NES.
Yeah, like 5 a day or something.
Yeah,
at
something
3 p.m.
dumb.
There's some like that's the place to go if you want one, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's just been kind of like that initial fervor has waned a little bit. I still want to play Metroid on big TV. I still want to do that. So anyway,
Maybe one day you can.
maybe one day.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, right. So back to movies that people love intensely.
The second thing that I wanted to say to you, besides Ori and the Blind Forest, is that Hank says, I'm
It's like corrections
with
from last time.
Nathan.
Okay.
Fuck Gravity.
I didn't really like ride. Yeah, it's like a theme park ride.
I figured I would let you know.
Okay, good. Which, actually, yeah, that's a movie that I was like, I smugly Schadenfreude, like, went, 7.8. Not on the list. Fuck out of here. Like, Birdman, too, it's not on the list. Get that shit off this list.
Bollywood was too strong.
Yeah, Bollywood has stormed that list in the last little while. I used to be past 200 out of 250 watched, and I think I've fallen below that now, because it's like, what the hell happened? And I'm like scrolling through the list, and there's like 5 or 6 movies I've never heard of. Just like, oh, it's like some comedy from 2003. Okay.
What's the highest movie you don't have watched?
I think it's City Lights. It's a Chaplin. There's a handful of Chaplins I have not seen, and I'm not opposed to seeing them. It's just I just haven't.
You gotta go to the library and take that out.
I gotta figure out some way. Like I did watch The Kid on Hoopla, the streaming service the library provides.
Yeah,
that was also on there. For a while, it was actually Seven Samurai. That was the highest ranked one because it's like number 19 or something.
But I mean, you've seen that story.
But now I've seen it. And yeah, I've seen Magnificent Seven and stuff.
Yeah.
So I've seen that story, but now I've actually seen it. But okay, so the one it's high up there, I think it's 27, is Leon the Professional.
Yeah.
With Jean Reno, Natalie Portman.
I remember
Gary
that
Oldman.
being good.
I generally agree. It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where, like, the things that stick in my craw is when something's, like, just a little bit, it's like, why is this 10 out of 10? What are you talking about? Like, people just...
It's a 10 out of 10?
Like, it's 8.6 or something out of 10.
Well, it's
weighted
probably,
out of 750,000 votes.
It's probably about, like,
so
an
a
8.
lot of people are giving it a 10, is what I mean.
Oh, okay.
That's all I mean. It's like, if you scroll through the reviews, you're going to find 10s all over the place. Dumb. But okay, so I was trying to, like, figure this out, because I was just like, my impression of that movie was it was fine. Like, it was okay. Yeah, that was pretty good. I like Gary Oldman. He was
7.
He was pretty good in it. I gave it a 7.
7
As it turns out, years ago, I gave it a 7.
Uh-huh.
I watched it again this past week, and I ended up pretty much still there. It's like, yeah, it's probably still a 7. The thing that was dogging me, though, about this was I never trusted my perception of it, because I was like, I know there's an international cut, and maybe that's what everybody saw, and it's a Blade Runner situation, where somebody, like, watched the movie and was like, yeah, this really wasn't that great. Like, there's just, I don't know, it's kind of, Like, it was, so there's 150, like, what is it, 110 minutes is the default version.
Okay.
And then there's a 133-minute version that I finally watched. This is the one I watched this week to kind of be like, put that to rest and just be like, is this one just way better? Like, do they just pace it differently, or it's just something is there that wasn't in the original or something, or was it hacked up by American editors like Once Upon a Time in America or something? Like, what happened? What is going on? And I don't know, it had like a few scenes that I feel were new to me. Some of them like directly addressing some of the kind of Lolita business going on in that movie.
Yeah.
Which is like, yeah, it's like occasionally uncomfortable with just like, she's 12, he's 45, and they dance around it a bit, but they dance around it less in this. There's like direct conversations about it.
Okay.
And that was like, okay, well, that's a little new. That I don't remember that being like expressly stated. It was just kind of this thing that was there in the room the whole time and kind of weird at times, especially during this weird dress-up game they play, which was like 12-year-old Natalie Portman dancing around singing Like a Virgin, and then Marilyn Monroe like doing the Happy Birthday, Mr. President thing. Okay. She's like 12 years old. And it's just weird. Yeah. It's like, it's just, but it knows it's doing that. Like, it's a French director and all stuff. It's kind of having a little fun with the audience, maybe like kind of poking at that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's the component of the movie people really respond to. Like, that's why it's a 10, because the character dynamic is odd. Like, that makes it unique, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just the way it plays out. It's just like a girl's family gets killed. There's this hitman, takes her in, starts training her for like how he does his job. And there's a plant, and Gary Oldman's crazy. And Gary Oldman is my favorite part of that movie, probably. The way he eats pills is just so entertaining. Like, there's no special effect. It's just a man is being really strange, and it's making for interesting cinema. But his character's, like, kind of underwritten. He's just corrupt DEA guy who just has, like, weird... He's just allowed to shoot anybody, apparently. Like, there's no real kind of, like... There's an internal affairs investigation that doesn't do anything. Like, that's just kind of the thread that's there. I feel like there's just a straight up plot hole at the end of the movie. And this is like a 22-year-old movie, so I think I can talk about it. Go ahead. Yeah. There's a moment where Gary Oldman sees Jean Reno's character. What's his name? Leon. The main name. Titular character. Yep. So Leon, he sees him, and he goes, oh, there's that guy. And then he kind of sets up a little trap for him. At that point in the movie, there's, like, no real reason I could suss out that he would know who he is by sight, because he's a professional assassin who just isn't known, you know? Yeah. Like, at this point, he has heard, like, oh, man, this guy just came out of nowhere, killed all these dudes, and shot this guy. And it's just like, yeah, he killed everybody there, so no witnesses there.
Right.
He's under the perception he's Italian because he works for Danny Aiello's character. Like, that's kind of his handler or whatever. Yeah. So he's, if anything, looking for an Italian guy. And then he just sees this, like, French guy sitting amongst all these, like, SWAT dudes in SWAT gear and goes, that's the guy! I know it's the guy. And it's like, why do you know that? Like, it just didn't make sense. It was like, why do you know that? You shouldn't know that.
Because the movie had to end.
Like, the movie, yeah, and it ends with kind of like this, oh, tragedy, oh no, but kind of awesome revenge at the same time. Like, there's a little moment that happens. But, well, whatever. He blows him up. Yeah. Like, Gary Oldman dies. But so does Leon, and oh no, sad. Yeah. But it just felt, kind of like just this unearned thing of just like, well, that doesn't even make sense. Like, this shouldn't, you need to have a plot mechanic somewhere that, you know, he saw a picture, or Danny Aiello told him what he looks like, or something. Like, there's just
a throwaway line.
Anything, yeah. I figured in the extended cut, there's more minutes to be had, so maybe that's in there, but it just didn't seem to be in there, so.
What was in the extended cut?
Awkward dinner scene with Leon and Matilda.
I mean, that's probably why it's
I think
rated
maybe
so
even
high.
The early, like, opening scene might have been longer.
You get all those pedophile votes. You just raise the bar.
You know, I don't want to be, like, weird and cynical, but I was almost wondering, is this just, like, some weird closeted thing people are, like, way into? Yeah. That's, like, affecting their vote in a weird way? Totally. That's, like... Oh, dude, such a unique action movie. I really like the characters.
Wasn't that the same with Taxi Driver?
People really like Taxi Driver, too. Yeah. And
wasn't it the same thing, though? With
like, Jodie Foster?
Jodie Foster.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, there's just, like, creeps like it more than they ought. Because it's just like, well, this isn't that great a story. Or whatever. It's not even like, oh, creeps. I'm not trying to, like, oh, it's creepy. But it's just like, that's kind of just a weak reason. Like, it's an easy button for a movie to kind of push at. And then at that point, why don't you like Kubrick's Lolita more? Like, it's all about that. Just go watch that. I don't know. But maybe the Jeremy Irons version is better. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Yeah. But I read that book. I don't know. Just, something about, like, I just don't feel, like, part of the puzzle just is missing to me. I don't see the flawless, amazing masterpiece people are talking about.
Yeah, but everybody always... Okay, what's a 10 for you?
But, like, for me, that's the thing. Like, a 10 for me is honestly Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which I brought up earlier. And, like, I can see why somebody might be like, oh, but it's a comedy, or, like, there's, you know, what about the joke at Redneck's expense? It's like, I guess. But okay. I just thought it was funny.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
That's a weird thing.
Well, there's, like, the brother of the hotel owner is kind of this, like, pig farmer guy, and he just kind of snorts weird, and his wife is like, oh, heft this giant thing. Like, it's not like every joke is a gutbuster in that movie. I just love the character dynamic in that movie a lot. So that's the thing that, yeah, sure, that character dynamic really appealed to me, 10 out of 10. Okay. This character dynamic really appealed to somebody, 10 out of 10. I get it. I don't know how
Now-
like 750,000 people felt that way.
Now,
It's just weird.
put in your mind
Okay. And I like Jean Reno too.
that you really, really like underage girls.
See, this is the jump for me. Okay. All right, I'm trying to follow along.
Now and you really, really hate overweight, lovable Canadians.
Oh, dude. Why would you hate them though? They're so affable.
It doesn't matter. This is your mindset.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Now, which one's the perfect 10?
Well, there isn't even there's like the little kids in Planes, Trains, but they're just kind of eating dinner. So there's
Right.
no
That's not
there's no
sexualized.
flirty dances or anything. So yeah, I guess 10 out of 10 for Leon.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, we cracked the case.
Yeah, we did it.
Good job. Thanks, Paul.
Do you have a case that needs to be solved? Right in.
It's like, why do people like this? It's like, well, you see, they think about things differently than
We
you
should
do.
do that. People should write. That should be a segment. Why do
Pop
people
culture
like
mysteries.
this?
Yeah.
And then we'll just like make up some dumb response.
Well, no, like, yeah. My theory was just like, compared to other action movies in the Walmart dump bin, it's
Yeah.
more interesting.
Of course.
So, because like one of the reviews on IMDb literally was saying like, so I was at Walmart and I was digging around and it's just like, oh, okay, you know what? I guess compared to like Detonator 2 and Delta Force 4,
Yeah.
it's way better. Like, it's like, wow, it's like well shot and they thought about the story.
No, it's
This
a
is
good
amazing.
movie.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But like that extra little bump from like 7.5 to 10, just where does that come from?
Okay.
And part of it is this Natalie Portman factor, and then
Yeah.
also just like this novelty. And it is a pretty unique movie.
Uh-huh.
You know, like watching it's like, and also actually one like thing I'll just fully give it credit for is this movie came out like 22 years ago. It just doesn't matter when it's set. For the
Right.
most part, like there's like old CRT TVs or something, but it almost just seems like a weird style thing of what like shitty apartments look like.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even seem to really stand out. It's just like, it's kind of has a sort of timeless quality to it in a way. Like it just isn't about cell phones or technology or fashion or anything. Everybody just looks like this could have been made recently.
Yeah.
You know, it just kind of has that quality going for it. So there's elements of it there for sure. But okay, and one thing for me, I want to just like maybe some other little thing. If this was like a lot of people's introduction to Jean Reno, maybe that's kind of like, oh, this guy's a pretty cool actor. I like that extra bonus.
What
point.
was yours?
Mine was Godzilla,
Yeah.
but I like that movie,
Okay.
and he's the head of like this badass French unit of like Secret Service dudes or whatever. So I was like, yeah, Jean Reno's
You
great.
should probably specify which Godzilla.
Yeah, 1998 Matthew Broderick,
Yeah.
Roland Emmerich movie. But I was just on
P.
board
Diddy,
anyway.
Come With Me. is
Yeah,
one of the
exactly.
main tracks.
With isn't there like a Led Zeppelin sample? Like
Oh, yeah, Kashmir.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So that soundtrack. Yeah, Godzilla's great. Like that's the thing. So and that's like a 4.5 on IMDb. So again, I just don't understand what people are looking at. It's got a giant lizard in it. And stuff blows up.
arguably, the stuff that
I was
blows up
11
is
when
what
I
gave it a
embraced this
0.5
movie.
more.
See, sometimes I feel like I can still switch this like mental scale of when I was like 11 years old, the way I would appraise movies.
Yeah.
And that is the only defense I have for why I have ever publicly stated that Good Day to Die Hard is any good at all, because there's a sick explosion in it. And there is.
Good Day to Die Hard.
The
Is
fifth
that the
one.
fifth one?
The fifth one.
Okay.
Which I will say is like, it's not a good movie, but there's a really good explosion in it.
I always
and you
forget it
can't look at
exists.
that explosion and tell me it's not a great explosion, because it is.
I
It's
always
just true.
forget it exists,
Fair enough.
to be honest with you. And
It's the worst one, but it's got a really
did
good
it come
explosion.
out at the same time as Argo?
Around the same time.
Okay.
This was where that
Yeah, okay.
feud happened.
Yeah, okay.
Which
yeah.
Argo also not on the top 250 list, so there's a little bit of justice going on. Maybe it's India helping us bump this stuff off there.
What's another thing on this list that you think is just way too... What's the highest thing that you're
The highest,
indignant about?
oh, the highest one that I'm kind of like, it might be Usual Suspects. That's probably one I've rated the lowest.
What number is it?
It's in like the 25 range or something.
What's in the
It's
top
right around
10
there. Top
that you're
10,
indignant about?
Top 10, I'm trying to think what they all are, but I'm mostly like, yeah, it's okay. Like, there's nothing I'm like mad about that I can recall that's up there. It's like Pulp Fiction's up there, Dark Knight, Godfather 2, Godfather 1, Shawshank, 12 Angry Men is on there, which is probably the only one in that top 10 I have given a 10, where I'm just like, oh, this is fantastic.
That movie's a really good movie.
Yeah, it's just like, this is, there's nothing wrong with this at all.
Weren't they going to remake that?
Okay, they did in the 90s, and I've been curious about it for a long time, because it's got a lot of actors in it that I'm like, I want to see James Gandolfini in a role in this.
Yeah.
I want to see Jack Lemmon play the Fonda part. Like, there's just stuff in there I'm just like, well, this sounds great. George C. Scott's in it? Like, it's like, this is probably fine, and recently I actually did see somebody, like, kind of going like, wow, it's a lot better than that 90s version. It's like, you've seen the 90s version? Where did you see it? Like, don't be weird about it. It's not easy to find. It's like on videotape. I don't think it's on DVD. If you get the Criterion, like, new one, like, or the new Criterion of the old movie, it doesn't include it or anything. It's just wiped from history. It's hard to find. If William Friedkin directed it, it's like, I'm curious about this movie. I want to see it, if only just to, like, better appreciate the original, or just, like, see what happened here. It's been a big curiosity of mine for a while. It's like the Psycho remake or something.
Okay.
We're just like, well, this is perfect. Why would you remake it? It's like, I don't care. I just want to see it. Like, it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to take away from the original at all. Just how did they re-articulate the same story in a modern movie? Like, well, modern in 1997.
Sure.
But yeah, they remade it then. I don't know if there's been talk of another remake. There was a extended Amy Schumer sketch about it.
Great.
You don't want to talk about that? Jeff Goldblum's in it. Paul Giamatti.
I can't stand her.
Okay. We will not talk about Amy Schumer. She's coming to town soon, though. Get your tickets. Comedy legend.
Yeah,
Just writing that down.
That's right. Comedy legend.
Okay. I'm just gonna look over this list. The one other thing, I guess, coming back to podcast related stuff, the Waypoint podcast.
I don't know what that is.
It's the new Vice podcast.
Oh, I don't care. Then.
Okay. Paul doesn't care. All right.
Because Austin's fine, Patrick's fine. They're just gonna get into stuff I don't care about, though. What those two like to talk about.
Okay. My main beef with it is really just like, it's a really short show.
How short is it?
It's like 45, 50 minutes.
That's not bad.
I guess, but
I thought you were talking maybe half hour. That's bad.
Yeah, okay. I guess fine. It's more substantial than that, but it's still just kind of touches on very few things every week. And I guess they're maybe just trying to guide more attention to, like, articles and stuff that have been written on the site. But
right. Because that's their business.
That's their main business,
they need
I
to
guess.
push it. Yeah.
And I guess, yeah, it's hard to monetize podcasts.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm a big audio content kind of guy. So it's just like, I don't want to watch 72 hours of anything. Like, that sounds insane. I don't want to watch that. So can you just kind of summarize some of that
But I'll
stuff?
listen to 72 hours of something.
Yeah, because I'll be able to do something else.
That's
I'll
it. That's
shoot
actually
demons or fly from planet to planet.
Or even just, like, drive somewhere.
Yeah,
like
drive back and forth to work,
yeah.
have a little chatting going on.
Sure.
But I don't know. But okay, I guess if I'm gonna like delve into any one thing about just kind of the general tone and attitude of the show,
yeah,
like it's kind of a thing that makes me feel like it makes me question like if I'm just like some sort of fundamental hate monster,
yeah,
or
what?
Well, yeah. But I'm going to therapy and they're not telling me that. So either they're bad at their job or there's just kind of this like far other polar extreme of just like what is like a progressive thing to say or whatever.
Okay.
Like it's just kind of, it's making me feel guilty really easily.
Let's stop talking around what the thing is.
Okay.
What was said and...
No, I don't even know if it's like something like... What would it be like that?
Like, what triggered this whole, like, thought piece?
Okay.
Of, like, I'm a hate monster.
I'm a horrible hate monster.
Yeah. Okay, somebody said something, and you were just like, I don't care, or I hate, or something, this. What was the thing?
I'm trying to think if it's, like, something someone said, or just something...
That happened?
Well, okay. Like, okay, actually, sure. Some of it is just this kind of, like... Okay, part of it is rooted in jealousy, I will say that. I will say part of it is a jealous thing.
I mean, most things are.
But, and also kind of mixed in with some, like, kind of self-loathing stuff, okay? So there's a fun little cocktail coming.
Uh-huh.
So, one of their recent hires is Danielle Riendeau, who is she's been a writer for some time for Polygon and various places. She is an extremely physically fit, cool lesbian.
Okay.
And I can never be that. You understand?
You can be physically fit and cool.
Can I?
Yeah.
Oh. See, the self-loathing part of me does not allow this conclusion to make sense.
You cannot be a lesbian.
I can never be a lesbian.
You cannot have that.
It's just the stupid thing of just like there's only so progressive a white cis person can ever be, you know, and it just kind of puts me in this like kind of negative zone about myself because I just kind of get like, oh, I can't be that. I can't be cool like that. I can't do that way. I can't say this and have it carry the same weight because it won't be from personal experience about any like queer relationships or anything.
But why would you?
Well, because it's like it's a right that's being encroached upon recently.
So,
but that's where progressives are at. That's the next envelope being pushed, right?
Sure, but
so I don't have an envelope to push.
Why do you feel like you should
just
talk
like a purpose thing? I don't know. Like just to kind of have like some, write your congressman. It's like, oh, but I don't feel strongly about that. You know? And like just that there's kind of this like you're allowed to be outraged at people who don't care about that, but we don't really have any like position to take that isn't like against that somehow, Like I just feel boxed in a way just by like the demographic I'm a part of, Like there's no, it's kind of tying back to some of the politics stuff too, where I was like intrigued at like, oh, this is an interesting development because this voice that everyone's mad about, they now need to like express why, and I can learn a little more about why people hate white people.
Okay.
For contemporary reasons. Because for me, it's a lot of stuff of just like, but that's why your grandpa hated us. Why, like, that's not relevant now, Like, there's kind of just this but then there's the privilege thing about just like, oh, well, you're just having an easier time and you don't even know it and you blah, blah, blah.
I would rather have the privilege than get to talk about shitty stuff.
You'd rather have
the privilege
than have like cross to bear kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I would rather not be able to talk about stuff and just live a comfortable life.
Okay.
Than have to deal with like scrutiny because of like the color of my skin or because of like who I'm with or something.
Yeah. That's a logical, it's like, yeah, so it's like a really profoundly illogical type of jealousy where I don't have like
a reason
interesting problem that I want that drives me to keep doing stuff or to do anything because it's just kind of like no, there's just no incentive for like if anything the industry right now and like it'll be kind of topics, this maybe ties more directly to like what we were originally trying to talk about before it got all personal. Like issues that'll be talked about would be kind of like, oh, there's not enough women in the games industry or something. Even just that sentence, though, is kind of just like, oh, but what if I want in the game industry? I'm a white guy. I'm the most boring guy to want to be in the game industry by your definition. Like, It's like, we don't want you. Like, I'm just kind of hearing that in all of this stuff. Just like, yeah, we really need more, like, queer representation here. It's like, no. Okay, but I am not that, though, and I want to say something. So am I not allowed to say something? Should I be quiet so you can say something? But what if I don't like what you're saying? What if I think your opinion on this game isn't great, but you're, of this smaller category, so you should be allowed to kind of have this half-baked opinion, but, that's, it's just kind of, but is that really happening, or is that a perception issue?
I think the real answer is that the older white people should get the fuck out and get the new generation of people in.
Yeah. Okay. Like, because there's a certain thing of like, well, can't you be like an ally of these causes without being of them? And I just feel like not as effectively as I feel I should or something, but okay.
Yeah, you can. And in fact, you would be more of one because as a white male, you own the world, essentially, right?
People keep saying that, but does that take the form of literally money in your house or like just for nothing? Like you just show up and there's a check in your mailbox, or where is it? Where is this? Like, do I have to go find a job or something?
You have a job.
I know, but do I only have that job because of my like pigment, or what's going on?
I mean,
I thought you vouched for me. So that helped me. And I had weird hair at the time, too, so I, like, really made it through. But...
Did you?
Yeah, I had really long hair when I applied.
I don't remember.
And, just, our manager, I feel, wouldn't like that. But, nevertheless,
All right.
made it through. But, I don't know. This is the kind of, like, thought spiraling things that happen. And don't exactly get, like, to the point where I'm really anxious and manic about it. But it's kind of a thing that kind of, like, sticks a little with when I'm listening to a podcast. Because you're just kind of, like, hearing somebody express themselves and then kind of being like, maybe partially because it's, like, a one-way form of communication.
Right. You can't retort.
They can kind of, like, assert all this stuff. And then I just go, oh, but that's a little...
Well, not even that. You can't even ask them a question to clarify what they mean.
Like, you could submit a question to their email inbox, but they have, like, 40 of them now. Yeah, like, they have kind of a growing stack of questions that may never get addressed, right? So, it's kind of just like, I am accepting your input, but mine has nowhere to go, kind of thing.
Well, on the plus side...
Yeah.
When the uprising happens of gays, lesbians, blacks, Muslims, and everybody against the white people, we will be the oppressed ones.
Right, and then we'll, like, secretly... There you go. That's what we need. It's like, now we're victims, and now we get to, like, have that inner self-righteousness.
So, I guess what I'm saying is just give it time.
Yeah, we're almost there. Like, anytime.
We're getting there.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, okay. Part of it's also just like kind of having a very one-sided kind of echo chamber setup for like like everyone I'm kind of tuning into has like almost the same kind of negative attitude right now about what's going on.
This is what people have lovingly termed SJWs on the internet.
Yeah.
So
there's actually an indie game called that. I found out
there is an indie game called that.
Yeah.
But, like, specifically, the people you are listening to would be categorized as this.
But I guess I'm just trying to, like, where does that compulsion to kind of, like, okay, like, sorry. So,
yeah.
Patrick Klepek would be like white straight guy who's on that podcast.
He is 100%.
But then like he gets to
touted as an SJW,
right? Because he's interviewing Zoe Quinn and all this kind of stuff. Like his kind of attitude would fall into that camp, I guess.
Super liberal.
Is that so? Does that just mean? What does that even mean? I'll just ask that.
It's come to the point, I think, where it just means people get angry about stuff, even if they have no direct correlation to the stuff.
Okay. Because that is a thing I find hard to have happen to me, like kind of secondhand emotional like involvement to stuff.
And there are people that like get really into
I don't know. Like I'll read it, like when I read a news story, I will be the thing that will enrage me or frustrate me about it is more when I find it kind of like a weird conflict there's no resolution to or whatever. Like when I got really kind of worked up about the hunger strike thing.
Yeah.
It just seemed like, well, this is such a weird debate avenue. Because it's like communication is already broken down and we're at this weird kind of game point now where we're kind of like, well, what if I harm myself? What are you going to do now? Like, it just kind of seems like a weird trick to pull. Yeah. So that was what was annoying me about it. It's not even like what the specific issue was. It's just like, no, I don't care if it's like a value or a thing that I believe in strongly. That's still not a great bargaining technique. Like, I don't like that.
Right.
So I wasn't responding to the specific case. I was responding to that technique and its history.
Where somebody like Patrick Klepek would be crying about, like, Indian rights.
In that case, where it's just kind of, I don't know. That's like not, but that's the thing where it's like, well, he's doing the thing I was talking about where like you ally yourself with the cause, right?
Yeah.
So I feel some I feel some pressure to do stuff like that, but I just don't care enough, and I feel bad for not caring, and then it just kind of it's a guilt spiral.
See, I don't feel bad about not caring. Okay. That's the difference.
So actually, let me extend it to something even more broad that people generally feel good about in game industry stuff. I find charity streams a little weird.
Sure.
You know, like, I just don't know what's going on there, because it's just like, well, is this just happening out of a guilt? Is this kind of like we're just kind of playing video games and getting money, we should give something back? Is that how this started? Like, are people watching video games anyway? Like, do they feel strongly about these specific charities? Like, I don't know much about the specific charities.
It started is like, you know how the whole like marathon thing is like, be a patron for me for like $5 per mile I run or something, then I'm gonna run the mile.
Yeah, sponsoring.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think it kind of started just being like the video game version of that.
Yeah,
and then kind of got into this just like trendy thing people do now.
Maybe okay, so maybe I feel some sort of disconnect from that stuff, because that was only stuff that would be kind of foisted on me by my school, because I was in a private Christian school. So it's just like, oh, you got to get sponsored for this charity thing, and and it's like, okay, well, I just want to be like the #1 champ in the readathon and get pizza. That's what I'm being motivated by, because I'm 9. Like, it didn't then extend to, like, actually, I really care about these charities. Like, I just kind of didn't get there.
I kind of have the same problem. The problem I have, though, is that I don't like giving money to charities, like a company thing.
Yeah.
The difference would be if somebody was doing a charity stream and it's like my brother is, like, dying in the hospital, I need to raise, like, $1,000 or something.
Yeah, okay.
Then it's like, okay, this guy's doing this because he has a direct reason to. Like, there's a motivation here.
It's a one-to-one connection.
I kind of don't understand the people that do Extra Life when they don't have kids.
Sure.
Like,
and I'm a person who doesn't have kids and doesn't really plan to. So I feel like another, like, one step away from, like, oh, but we gotta help the children's hospitals. It's like, no, I don't really care about that. Like, I know you do because you have a kid.
Right.
But why would you presume I would be immediately emotionally invested in that as well?
They don't.
But I don't want to say that to you because you're a sad parent. So I'm just going to kind of go, oh.
But I mean, they don't.
Away.
I don't think they presume you care. They're just saying, like, if you want to help out,
I guess.
Here's the thing. Trying to raise awareness.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Like, sadness awareness. I don't know.
The thing is that I'm kind of bummed out that, like, the only charity that ever comes up is the Children's Hospital.
Or
that's like
what is that
literally
one? Extra Life?
There's Extra Life and there's Child's Play.
Child's Play, and that one is a Children's Hospital thing,
It's
right?
literally the, like...
Yeah.
But...
And that's just, like, providing entertainment for kids who have long hospital stays kind of thing. And it's just like, well, isn't there something, like, just more grandly helpful that, you know, like... We could all get cancer. We could all suffer dementia. Like, solve those problems, not just, like, these really specific things. I think I've expressed kind of some incredulity over Child's Play before. But just kind of... I don't know what it is. It's just one that does not connect to my heart at all.
I kind of do like the AGDQ, SGDQ stuff.
Okay.
For, like, Doctors Without Borders and stuff. Like, directly funding research into cancer stuff.
Okay.
And, like, that makes sense to me. And then, like, when they read out some of the bigger donations and stuff, it's people saying that, like, I lost my grandmother, like, last weekend or something. Here's $50. Like, let's stop this thing or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So that stuff makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of am just sick of it always being about the kids. Because there's mental health issues going on. There's even third world country shit going on. Like, there's actual things going on.
Yeah.
That I feel are more important than, like, my kid got sick and bored. Or something.
Yeah, my kid is sick and he's enjoying care in a facility, but he's kind of bored. You know? Like, if he had Tetris or something.
I know it's a super, like, dismissive way to talk about it, but...
Yeah. So we'll just give him some books or something. Like, don't you already have something at home that you could just bring there?
I mean,
or are you
I
not
have
allowed
this.
to? Your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, just read Reddit. It's full of cats.
You know what that is? That's a callback right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was also going to call back to maybe that's why I didn't really connect to Arrival, because a lot of it ties into, like, oh no, kids. Like, it ties into a family crisis. And it's just like, this component isn't getting anywhere near my heartstrings. Right. That was the other, like, I liked My Grey Wall more, but my other comparison was, like, somebody trying to play heartstrings like a banjo. Or something, like, ineptly. Like, no, it's a real fine art. It's like a violin. You gotta kind of, you know, and, like, coax out those emotions. You can't just kind of, like, and, like, just sad kids and, like, people are dying. It's like, that's not how it works. You gotta be a little more nuanced than that.
I kind of wish we had a video component to that.
Sorry, I was strumming an invisible banjo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I was saying, that's the thing. In my head, though, when I'm saying anything negative like that about a movie or anything even simple like that, in my head, there's already, like, some other, like, real defensive person voice in there. That's not necessarily like informed directly from any like one review I really held to or anything like that. It's more just like I kind of characterize the 8.4 out of 10 or the number 99 on the top movie list, and it becomes kind of like a voice of just like, this is amazing, and this really boisterous, like, defensive person who will get really upset with me for asserting it's boring.
Do you feel that you're that voice for another person?
I'm both voices. Oh, like, I'm saying, like, someone's just like, planes, trains, and automobiles, and flipping out. And it's like, that movie's so boring. It's like, not even good.
Do you feel that you're that voice?
See, that might be it's just like an impossible thing where you're always going to be that for somebody.
Yeah.
I'm just like, the new Doom, what are you talking about? Doom 2 was the best one, and it never got
probably
talked.
Is that guy.
Yeah. There's some just...
I kind of want to look for that
opposite,
guy.
like, pop culture was informed totally different. It's like, Shin Godzilla, it's the worst one. The best one was actually Guy Gan. Was the best one. Godzilla versus Guy
It took
Gan.
you a second to think.
I had to it would probably actually be Terror of Mechagodzilla was the one I was least impressed with from the original series, but don't worry about
I'm wondering if there's a person who out there is like, Doom 3 was the best Doom ever made. Fuck this new one.
Like, they just ruined it. They made all this progress, and then they just backslid to that crappy old Carmack.
I actually want to see
Romero.
That's probably not a dude.
Yeah, we can make up this fake dude, and then he's this crazy straw man that we have.
Right.
Combating all of our opinions. But that's really all I have written down here for stuff that's happened. So
I think that's
probably episode 141 for you. If you feel really strongly about like Indian musicals and or like Usual Suspects,
or
you're just like, it's a perfect screenplay.
Child's Play.
Like, I support Child's Play all the time.
If you feel super strongly about that, you can probably go fuck yourself.
Ness Open Tournament? No, I expressed kind of ambivalent. It's okay. But, yeah. Leon, the Professional.
Is Doom 3 still best Doom game in terms of...
What?
I don't know. This is a message board thing.
Okay.
In terms of experience. Hello, after I played in complete Doom Reboot twice. It's excellent game. Game of the year by far, best FPS in years. However, I go back to Doom 3 and look into it. I research, I compare, and realize Doom 3 is, in my opinion, a better game.
Okay.
Doom 3 was a game that I think was rival to Half-Life 2.
Well, it was literally released around the same. But yeah, okay, sorry.
New Doom is reimagination of old Doom games. However, Doom 3 was a true evolution of the franchise. It was dark, has horror elements that are much better than shitty Resident Evil series.
Okay, well, he's already lost you now.
Suspense, and best part, in my opinion, is... No, sorry. And best part, IMO, the flashlight. In terms of experience, Doom 3 is easily the best. What do you think? Discuss.
Okay.
This is obviously a troll.
That's the thing, yeah. Like, even when I'm hearing it, it's like, even if this guy sincerely feels that way, the way he expressed it just seems like a troll.
Yeah.
Like, it just reads like, specifically, the flashlight was really good. Also, this really popular series a lot of people
really
like.
Bad.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
So, like, it's just, I don't know.
IMO.
Just duplicitous or something.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. But that's the internet. It's all cold text, you know? Hopefully with the inflections, when I was talking about that gray wall, people can suss out you know, what's really going on. So there you go. But anyway, that was an episode. Thanks for listening, everybody. Final thoughts?
See you next week.
Oh, man.